The ravens in the sky, and kings shall deceive. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war a night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. The sounds of arms, fierce morality, nightfall the rain, and the silence bleeds. We have come into the night, thunder, rage, and war a night. We have come into the night, thunder, rage, and war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Shield wall. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok, bring her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla.
All right, welcome in this evening, everyone. This is Valhalla Esports, Season 4, Week 4. With me tonight, my casters are Malco and Zabel. Zabel, I think, is joining us in a little bit. But we got Malco. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing well, and I'm glad to hear that Zabel will be joining us at some point during this matchup, as it is currently, as portrayed in the Seer, a pretty hype matchup between two different teams. One that has gone through quite a few different changes, but is looking to potentially have some great success, while the other side is looking to be to continue their undefeated streak, which is going to be Demonic Ascension versus INT. Oh, is
What's that, sir?
Is everything okay there? Did you call just making sure?
Sorry,
But
yeah, multitasking.
no, you're all set. So no worries. I'll take over from here for a little bit. Got here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the call out for the two teams, Demonic Ascension with one substitution. We have the top lane is going to be the Golden Pharaoh. Jungle is going to be Fox, formerly known as Janao. Mid is Empire for Howard. ADC, console C and support Fell. I know there's a whole name there. And then for the top side, or for the INT, it's going to be top side Omega the Reaper, Jungle Mont Blanc, mid Deity, ADC, Sathos, and support insert name here. Both these teams looking pretty good right now, and I don't see super hard matchups between the two. Potentially, it might be a little bit of a mixed match between the jungle mid matchup, but aside from that, I think we should be just fine. With that said, the draft wall is currently ready between these two teams. We will go ahead and transition ourselves. As you guys will see here, INT is on blue side, Demonic Ascension on red to start. And the first ban coming out from INT is going to be the Caitlyn. Demonic Ascension looking to ban out that Singe from Omega the Reaper. Do not want to see that menace on the Rift. And INT with the next ban being the Karma. And another ban coming up, the Ash, going to be next for Demonic Ascension. As we wait to see more of these picks and bans come out from these. Oh, here we go. Zach being the next ban for INT. I really like some of these bans that are coming out. It doesn't even just feel like, okay, we're banning just strictly particular players, but they also are looking to ban out things that could be extremely strong. And Demonic Ascension looking to make sure that they cannot give the Swain on the first pick to Deity, and also banning it from themselves, as Console C is also known as a Swain main, and they're going to ban that out. And INT going for that very big pick or ban champion being the Volibear. And I like to see here Demonic Ascension now picking up the Zaya as well. Really decent. I'm actually not going to be surprised if the Rakan comes out here for Demonic Ascension, as they've actually played the Lovers Duo and it's actually been successful for them previously in last week's games. So they definitely might be looking for that. And yes, they are, as we do see the Rakan, or the Rakan, not the Recon, Rakan is immediately picked up by Demonic Ascension to go ahead and complete that Lovers Duo in the bot lane, a decent duo for the two of them, and it should already give them a decent enough buff. And that should force INT to at least answer the bot lane at the very least, because this is a strong bot lane straight out the gate. And they do, as INT decides to pick up in their second pick, the Jhin for this moment. And then we're going to probably see the support pick here as well, which I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like a Leona or anything that can just immediately lock down the Rakan the moment that he goes in, as Rakan's W tends to be pretty telegraphed. Oh, we do see that they made sure that INT ends up picking up the Riven here for the top side, which is something big that you did not want to actually give up. But it was either pick Swain it was either between Swain or Riven, I guess, and they decided to go with the Swain ban. And we do see now Pharaoh going up top with this Urgot.
Yeah, very big pickup on the Riven for Omega the Reaper there. Definitely a comfort pick, so good to have. And then the Urgot answer, that seems like a very like a Hailstorm thing to do. I know he's not on DA, but this will be interesting to see. That is Golden Pharaoh top lane in response.
And we are now going into the second phase of bans. The second phase here beginning, we do see the first phase ban being the Annie. They don't want Deity to have the potential of another pentakill whatsoever. And repeating last week's performance, the Aurelion Soldan being banned by INT in response, with the Silas now making sure that none of these good ultimates actually that could come out from DA can be stolen. And we do see the Kindred being the final ban for away from Fox, so that he's not allowed to go ahead and play this. And the next ban is the Jungle Viego from the side of DA. I want to just see here. They're trying to respond. It looks like they want to respond with something here that can at least answer to that Viego. I'm not sure how well it'll do dueling into the. Okay, so we're gonna see the Hui picked up here for the mid lane, and Maokai to round out the rest of the picks. I do like that, seeing the Maokai being able to be picked up support here for the side of INT. And then DA right now, we are currently waiting for them to make their final pick. But as we wait for them to pick their mid laner here, Zabel has joined us on the casting desk and will be here with you guys for the play-by-play. A little switch up here from what I normally get to do. So that's going to be a fun time. How you doing tonight, Zabel?
Hey, brother, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's good to be here. It looks like we got a amazing draft, honestly. Just looking at these two, seeing the Urgot, Viego, Ari, I love that. And then Riven is pretty rare, and gotta love the Hui and Jhin. I love the draft we have here so far, and I'm excited to get into the game.
I'm ready. I know that these two teams, it looks like they were really trying to pick this up. Demonic Ascension, again, and being a team that's gone through some major changes, playing with the sub, not having their really well, I want to say like a very decent jungler in the Glizzler this time around, with Fox being in the jungle for them. They do have a little bit of a hill to climb, as they have to go up against the only remaining undefeated team currently in the league, and they had a lot of choices to make, as they had to give Omega the Reaper the Riven. We did see that in that first week, that Riven carried definitely in the first game that they got to play for INT. So this is right now looking pretty interesting as it feels like INT has a hell of a comp to work with.
Yeah, man, I love that you touch on that previous series knowledge as well. And honestly, I'm going to be leaning on you pretty heavily for that, as I haven't gotten the chance to see a lot of those. So if there's any specific things inside of the match, even that you want to call out when it comes to that, as far as these players and their champions. But yeah, I mean, the Xayah Rakan, I feel like is actually just such a strong pick right now in the bot lane meta. And when you pair that really strong like burst potential with something like the Viego and the Ari and the Urgot, that just gives you such strong potential for those Viego resets. And the kits on the side of INT with those champions, pretty much any one of those champions you get a reset on is really, really good for Viego. So that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on in this game. But like you touched on that Riven, just such a power pick for this player. And I'm really excited to see how it looks in those hands.
I won't lie to you. I would have actually have loved to seen DA not ban the Silas and actually take it for themselves, since I believe they would have had first pick out of the bans, and they would have had a lot of, not only like you're saying that you had the Viego resets, but then you would have had so many different ultimates that the Silas could have stolen that could have been very useful.
Oh, yeah.
So that would have been pretty interesting if they actually went with the Silas over the Ari. But Ari, as you already mentioned, is a very consistent mid laner since the very inception of this champion. And so I
Oh,
feel,
especially with the changes, right? Because you can reset now with Ari too. So you're
Yep.
like getting double the value on these types of resets here, with the Ari and with the Viego, and just having that guaranteed damage after if you land a charm, you can just chain that with so many of the CC options that you have for the side of DA. Demonic Ascension, I really like the theology, I guess, behind their comp. I like the identity they've built for themselves here. But INT, they have very strong champions across the board, like the Hui Jin combo just in general with the Maokai Saplings, the ability to set up a lot of picks just with Jin W from Maokai Saplings and the Hui follow up is pretty crazy. So I'm interested to see if they're able to pull some stuff like that off in the mid game.
I'm actually really excited to see that too, because it's also the top side for their entire team, being the Riven, the Volibear, and the Hui already also looks extremely strong together. I already know they're going to be playing for a lot of that top side rotations, trying to make sure that they can get to that jungle. Pharaoh is also one of those players who prioritizes grubs a lot. So I'm not going to be surprised if INT is going to try to attempt to take advantage of the fact that the top and jungle are probably going to be wanting to play duo a lot together. So this is going to be very interesting to see how Demonic Ascension manages to scuff through this game, and also if INT can continue their undefeated streak right now, because the team is looking really damn strong and they do just about everything else but so it's looking like it's going to be a pretty interesting game here.
Reminder: we have a minute 30 still on predictions as well.
Oh, perfect. My chance to gamble. So with a minute 30 left to say, to get your submissions in, guys, right now it's sitting at just under 50-50. And that's crazy to say, especially when the pick'ems was, I almost think, like an 80-20 like split for this particular game, if I remember correctly from the seer. So it is actually, that's pretty interesting to see that people are right now saying, hey, like where you have like a 50-50 shot. I know maybe some team, like some DA players probably put a little money in there. But yeah, it's actually almost a 90-10 split in favor for INT. So it is from what I'm seeing here, people got some real faith in DA, and I really am glad to see that. This is, one team that is definitely looking to make a fight for not only the playoff standing, but a champion standing. And I think that it does have the potential to do so, especially with how I think one thing that I've noticed about DA play is that they don't only think of like, hey, what compositions can we do? They also try to think of what's meta within those comps and how easily they can execute those comps. And that's what in a lot of their games that they've been playing, literally they just play easy to execute compositions with very strong champions that they know how to play with. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see if these easily executable compositions and easy executable champions is going to be able to carry them enough past INT and the strong will that they have as a team. Not only that, but the skill as the different players on that team too.
Yeah, absolutely. And Just a couple seconds here now until we get on to the Rift. It looks like actually maybe there was some shenaniganery that happened in the champ select. It looks like there might have been a dodge of some kind.
Uh-oh.
Might be a redraft here real quick.
Maybe something ended up happening. No. We get a secondary spectator delay, guys. It's all right. You get to hear our beautiful voices once again. Well, you would have been with us the whole night. But aside from that, I'm excited for these two games. This is a matchup that I knew was coming up, but I wasn't expecting to be this excited for. I am in the full realm of we're going to 3 games. This is actually going to be we're going to have the same series that we casted last week. We're going to have a banger this week. And
yeah, dude, I love that you say that, because a lot of times in these league settings where you have teams that you might be more excited for when you see their roster, there might be teams that are pretty strong from the start, and there might be teams that have a lot of roster changes and kind of take a bit to get it together. But sometimes those roster changes click and some things start to work. So, when this team starts to play good and you're coming up against another one of those teams who looks pretty strong, it's always exciting to see that kind of a clash, because the gameplay is going to be somewhat competitive, and you always want to see it go to that 3 games, because that's what everybody wants to see, if we're being honest.
That's all we ever want is 3 games, a whole bloodbath, a mess of just absolutely highly executed League of Legends to the best of our abilities.
I will say the exception when you don't want 3 games, it's when it's like 3 45-minute just bangers that are just no fighting, that doesn't happen very often, but let's hope I didn't curse that one here.
No. You know what's funny is that it always starts out this way. Like, the games have always been the first 6 to 7 minutes. It's just it feels like there's nothing going on unless somebody decides to be like, you know what, I'm pressing buttons because I'm bored. But most times it'll be the first 6 to 7 minutes. We'll literally see it say 0-0 on the kill board. Maybe a couple turret plays have been taken because some people, they did enough damage to push people out of lane and things like that. But aside from that, it's not until maybe between the 7 to 10 minute range do we see at least the first real blow up of the game. And then from there, it'll be oh shit, what's gonna happen next? And then by you're really sitting there by 15 minutes wondering oh shit, what's gonna happen? If it gets to a point where it's a 45-minute game, it's because both these teams for some reason are just insanely out macroing the other, even though the other team is ahead somehow. It's so weird. The behind team manages to completely outplay, and then it's just oh well, that extended the game probably another 2 to 3 minutes now because
for sure.
Yeah, so
there's just so many macro options in the game now, right?
Exactly.
The introduction of grubs, the introduction of the Rift Heralds, the second Rift Herald, the global even blue and red buffs, and then you have on top of that the objective bounties. There's just so many avenues by which you can get back into the game from behind, and with skill disparities and people being somewhat evenly skilled a lot of the times too in these kind of leagues, there's usually a lot of angles for people to come back in the game. So it always is exciting to see. And, it's not always exciting to see the redraft of the champion select we just watched, but we're going to get through it. And we're going to see these champion picks here again, and maybe we can dig into a little bit more.
I'm really honestly, I know I'm a support main, so I'm pretty biased towards bot lane, but I'm excited as hell to see a Jhin Maokai versus the Lovers duo. It just seems like that's going to be very, very scrappy. I feel that Rakan's going to want to be hyper engaging onto that immobile Jhin all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, since we're going to need to fill some extra time here, did you watch the LPL? If you're a support main, I recommend watching this if you haven't seen it. Did you watch the LPL series from earlier today, JDG versus Top Esports?
I did not.
That is okay. So I highly recommend watching that and focusing down on the support play. You have a player like Mako that you get to watch, just absolutely insane. You get to watch some perfect Renata Glask play in that series as well. So highly recommend that if you're a support enjoyer, or for anybody who is a high-level League of Legends enjoyer. Obviously, phenomenal series. But going to be getting into this series hopefully soon. Another Champ Select issue. Seems there's been some client issues here for the boys tonight.
As long as I'd rather it be some client issues, but if we can just get into spectator and then no spectator issues, I'm happy. I'll be happy. It was funny because someone said, I think like someone said Captain Flowers complained about the spectator issue, and now Riot's actually on it, and I'm like, thank you. Finally, someone said something. Um,
Well, the captain speaks up. The people usually listen. As Riven here just locked in, probably just going to pick their champions in pick order, which is great for us. Because then we can talk about the matchups, which I actually think we didn't touch on the top lane matchup too much, other than
no, we did
Omega
not.
having that Riven pick. But uh, I honestly think, and we saw some Urgot earlier today as well. Speaking of top esports, 369 pulling that one out, phenomenal to see. But we'll see if the Urgot here is able to pull out a performance against its Riven. I actually think it's a pretty good matchup for the Urgot. You can kind of trade pretty well from range, and with the shield you have, you can get out of a lot of Riven's combo if you hold it for the right timer. But probably going to come down a lot to those junglers with the Volibear Viego. Obvious strength to the Volibear early, especially with the support you can get from Hwei if you have push. Honestly, the side of INT gonna have a little bit stronger of an early game, I would think, on the top side. So we're gonna have to look to see if they play for those grubs early on. They have the Jhin, Maokai in the bot lane, pretty good at playing on that kind of a safer weak side if you apply more of your pressure to top. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do. Interested to see if we actually get through this load screen.
I think we'll be fine this time around. I think everyone's got everything figured out. They had to just get some, just had to do a couple things. But now that we got all that figured out, I did want to touch upon that because one thing that the Urgot Viego kind of reminds me a little bit of is like the old, like back in like when they were playing a lot of like Renekton Nidalee in LPL and LCK maybe a few years back, and it just kind of reminds me of like you get that on like Riven. Basically, like you need to land that shield onto Riven if you're going to be engaging, just to make sure that the Viego can help stick onto her. And I think that's kind of what they're going for, is that if we're gonna try to get up in that top side, we need to get something that makes it at least somewhat guaranteed.
Oh
And
yeah.
I really do like Urgot Viego doing that.
Yeah, just the problem is for the side of INT, they have a similar kind of a combo. It's just so much easier to do because the Volibear stun is just sprinting at you and auto attacking you, and then you can apply that shield and slow as well. And Riven's a little bit easier to hit with those skill shot jumps and the dash stun than Urgot's large flip back animation. But the execution is there for the crowd control from both sides. It's just the pure stats on the side of the Volibear is just so much more than the Viego in the early game. That's going to be one of the bigger barriers there in the 2v2 on the top side. But, depending, I don't really know how the Ahri Hwei matchup goes. I don't know who has stronger push there early on. I imagine that it can maybe go either way, depending on how they play it. So it's probably going to come down a lot to that to see how much they can pressure that top side, which mid laner is able to maybe apply a little bit more map movement.
So I'll be completely honest. I'm not entirely sure on Demonic Ascension's mid laner, like skill level, rank, and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, if any of the guys are listening to the cast before you guys get into spectator and stuff like that, go ahead and just let me know. But if this is anything like they don't have any fear against, like, Deity is one of our higher ranked players in the entire league, if not I think the highest, maybe, I don't know. But if anything, like this mid laner shows no
I mean,
fear.
if he's not challenger, then I don't. Is he challenger? Isn't there a challenger player?
Is there a challenger player in this league?
I don't know. I'm probably just making that up.
I think
I think there's a
Masters
master player.
currently. At one point, we did have somebody who was associated with the team that was pretty high up there, like GM, Bush, and Challenger.
Yeah, see, that's where
My
I'm like,
mom said that I was challenger. Definitely wasn't challenged.
I was gonna ask the question, but I wasn't sure if I was allowed to.
Who is making these rules?
But yeah,
As
Empire
we
for
got
Hire.
less than a minute.
Empire for Hire is the mid for Demonic Ascension this season. Not a ton of knowledge on him myself. I think he's
Well,
relatively
it
new
looks
this
like
season.
there was a fair price that the Emperor accepted. As we get into the match here, hopefully we see the loading screen. We'd like to do the skin comparison, see who wins the skin war. It's a good early prediction. Whoever has the coolest skins obviously has an advantage.
Should we start gambling on the skin game?
I'm gonna say it is a solid.
Oh wow, they
Yeah,
even
we're
did
gonna
off by
say it's a
Ariella.
solid DA angle. Lunar Beast Viego just clears.
Yeah,
Maokai is a strong contender, but
the lovers duo actually matching up with it too, though.
yeah, the lovers duo synergy really seals the deal.
You can't get over that, unfortunately. It's like once they do that, it's like yeah, nah, it's over. That one wins.
Well, as we are on to the rift, let's see if INT can overcome this small lead that Demonic Ascension have managed to garner for themselves in the Champion Select and Load screen with their perfect skin selection. Looking like a 5-point spread here from INT not wanting any shenanigans early in the game. Just a
So they
quick
won the
ward put
war.
down.
So DA wins the war, the loading screen, but can they win the war of the rift is the real question.
Yeah, let's see. They win the war of the early vision game for the jungle, getting that ward down onto the Raptor camp on blue side. We'll give some good information here in the early game to see where Mont Blanc chooses to start. They see him on that top side now, and they ping out the ward he puts, so they know that blue side does have vision of Viego's Raptor camp. We'll see where Fox opts to start, knowing that if these junglers play around those wards at all. Looks like he is walking, so he's not spotted. But
Yeah,
there
but
should be knowledge there for Demonic Ascension that Volibear is starting on that bot side, but they do clear the ward.
Oh, okay, that's very
I
interesting.
saw him path that way, though, so should know he's there. I don't think that INT is going to know where this Viego is starting, but they will see him unless he walks around the ward to the Raptor camp there. I'll keep an eye on that, but we'll also keep an eye on where these junglers end up going on that level 3 spike if they choose to gank or just full clear. Typically on a Viego, you want a full clear. We'll probably see this Volibear looks to get a gank off, though, as he looks for that Krugs.
Yeah, I saw the ping go off bot lane there.
Yeah.
I'm very curious as to. I think that's probably the INT angle for this here. Oh, sorry. There was a. I thought there was about to be a little bit of something going on there, but so I think INT's angle here is that they want to try to accelerate the bot lane a little bit, knowing that the matchups between the top and mid side is probably going to be better for them. Winning just by on paper, they kind of just win that. So I think that right now, Mont Blanc is probably going to want to look to play towards that bot side and try to help get that ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see some early Volibear pressure down to that side of the map with the Zyrakan lane matchup being so strong. As we've seen some really strong poke land here from Deity onto Empire for Hire. Emperor getting chunked down a little bit. His jungler on the blue side there. We see Volibear on his blue as well. Keep an eye on those junglers to see if the Viego goes for some sort of gank. He is pathing towards bot lane now, looking for maybe a lane gank. Volibear still on that camp as mid lane continues to trade. Some great damage down onto Empire for Hire from Deity. As Viego now all the way down to the bot lane bush. I think unseen. Getting that W charge does land it, but unfortunately the Rakan had just walked completely away before that play started, but they still managed to get enough damage down. He goes back for the clone, but I think he actually takes a tower shot there. He doesn't take the tower shot. He was just barely out of range. Calculated completely, and getting the first blood there onto the Viego. That's exactly what you want.
Honestly, I was at first questioning Fox on what he was actually doing, just trying to roam down to that bot side there, but that was a very interesting play, and it actually ended up turning out to be something, getting them the first blood and being able to at least get them a little bit more, going against the plan of what INT might want to have done and try to make sure that they can either mitigate or get the bot lane ahead. So that's very good on Fox's part.
Yeah, we see the charm actually land here in the mid lane too, and Fox already there, but Volibear was in the wings waiting, getting the damage down onto Fox, who doesn't have that flash available. Viego going to fall, and crucially, Deity picking up that kill on this way. You want that gold on that scaling mage, on that impact having champion in this game. Now going to be able to push those waves so much easier with that golden flux, and hopefully be able to get off some more roams with the Volibear to make some action happen here. Is some trading in the top lane, but really what I'm looking at is that CS difference there.
Yikes, that was unexpected.
Solo though in the mid lane, just off screen pretty much.
That
Insert name here, walking up to cancel the backs, but probably just going to look for a reset here soon, unless they want to stick around and play for something. There are
Hui's
summoners on
damage.
both of them.
Hui's damage is absolutely deceptive as hell in this early game. I was not expecting him to be able to take him down. I was maybe saying like under 100 health with that combination, but it just ended up sending Empire back to the gray screen. I was not expecting it, and right now Deity already getting some leeway or some headway on this way is gonna prove to be an issue, especially once he starts roaming on 6.
The headway, getting some headway in this matchup. You love to see it. He is actually popping off right now. It's good to see if you are a Deity fan. Absolutely, INT going to be loving that. And earlier on this bot play, I was surprised that it ended up working with how disjointed it ended up being with the Viego CC and the Rakan being so far away, but they made it work. And honestly, you love to see it as their recall yet again canceled, but one of them still goes off somehow. I thought they went together, but whatever. As Deity trading here in the top side, Reaper going to go in and check, but not sure he really wants to take a fight against this Urgot right now. His jungler close behind knows he has his jungler as well, but Reaper taking so much damage here does end up going back in, jumping onto the Viego and actually just bursting him down. Not enough there on the Viego, and we talked about this champion being weaker in the early game. We talked about the strength of this Volibear, who does end up throwing the shield down, but actually it is the Hui picking up the kill with the long range snipe, throwing down, I think it's the QW, if I can remember that champion correctly, to get that kill there, just doing so much damage. Now 3-0 on this champion. I would be surprised if we don't see a Dark Seal pickup. I would love to see that.
This is exactly what I called out in the right before Champs, like when looking at these two comps. It was going to be a fight of who's going to basically be up there first in that top side and who's going to be able to make something work. And now you see immediately the Hui gets ahead, much so on this Ahri, has complete lane pressure, able to go ahead, push up, and be there to secure not only another kill, but the overall winning fight for their team. So right now, this Hui is looking like an absolute monster, and also is not looking real good at this moment for the side of DA, as they are currently about 1.2k gold down, but don't really have a super big control on the map.
Yeah, some may say that he knows the Hui, and he is making it look clean and easy in this game here. CS lead to boot, as the enemy team actually picks up that dragon, which is pretty good because that Infernal Dragon does give you those flat stats that just accelerates in gold value as the game gets later, because they are percentage based. But a small victory here in the early game for the side of Demonic Ascension, hoping to scale, as their name implies, into this one. Which honestly, their team pretty good scaling composition. The Xayah just so strong in that late game on the 3 and 4 random spikes, and the Viego obviously a scaling. Urgot, very strong champion when he gets his items. So hoping this one can go late, because I love to see these team fights with the mid to late game Viegos, but honestly, INT looking like they want to close this one out. They are looking very strong.
Yep, and I do want to point out what Blitz said, that yes, they are doing better with the macro though overall for the side of DA as well, being able to secure the Drake and the first 3 grubs immediately, even though it did lead to 3 kills, 3 people ended up dying, or 2 people ended up dying overall. It still ended up being a good play for them, because now they do have that pushing power, and as we've seen on Hailstrom on Kraken Slayers, as we have seen with just overall Urgots in general, it's very annoying to go up against an Urgot, and Fox right now feeling
the flash getting burned there in the mid lane from the Viego to get that stun down. Does have the ultimate, ends up casting it. The shield not enough on the Hui. Tower shot gonna go down, but not enough to take down Fox, who now having 2 kills for himself. A pretty good carry state for this Viego in this game. His counterpart on the Volibear has those 3 assists, a nice amount of kill participation, but if he doesn't start end up making things happen, as the solo kill in the top lane with Reaper making things happen for himself, just escalating his lead, making sure that despite the lead in the jungle for the enemy team, he makes a statement in the top lane with another solo kill. Absolutely popping off.
Right now, I think INT is looking at that as, okay, we had one little mishap in the mid lane. Omega the Reaper felt the need to return the favor in the top side, and it ultimately ends up working out. I thought that would have been a pretty close fight there. Urgot did not have the ulti in that moment, so it possibly could have been much closer than we had thought, but definitely good on Omega the Reaper to be able to win that fight out and take out Golden Pharaoh up in that top side by himself.
Yeah, just Giga Chad, masterful cooldown tracking. Omega the Reaper ice cold living up to his namesake and showing the Golden Pharaoh Death's Door. Fortunately for the Pharaoh, he was buried with some treasure, and he comes back with some items because he had some pretty decent CS. Now making his way towards those grubs. Looks like Volibear's already taken one. Mont Blanc sneaking one of those away for himself.
Yep.
Sitting on the 4 possibility, gets the 2. So now not the option to have 5 on either team. As we'll see the fight play out here. Pharaoh taking the kill. Onto that Urgot as the camera just pans away randomly from getting the other kill, but going back in now, Pharaoh gonna end up falling to this Riven who's just so strong now in the game. Jin with the backwards ultimate, as every ultimate flying out here, gonna land the root from the Xayah. Jin root gonna land as well. Gonna get slapped away, but the shield gonna be enough, and actually the turret shot wasn't even on to the Rakan. Oh my god, the Jin trap. Oh,
not gonna be enough.
surely,
With the
ignite, but the healing's coming through. Another Jin trap, but the shield comes through just in time. Going back in, and actually going back in was his death sentence because this arcade smash for Maokai. Console, so much damage being layered back down, but Mont Blanc sprinting in on this bear, and you can't run from the law. Console, you are taken down by the Volibear. Smacking him in the face, sitting on 2-1 now. Just actually so huge on this Volibear, just fighting back and forth on the Rift, and what we thought was kind of a lead here in the jungle side for the side of Demonic Ascension. INT showing that their champions across the Rift right now are stronger and they're ready to fight.
I'm honestly not very surprised to see this swing happen on the side of INT. It looks like the team just needed a moment to get themselves kicking. DA right now still has... It's not like it's completely hopeless for DA at the moment. They still have some control, where INT, though, has full. But hold on right here. We got to fight.
Yeah, and I don't even know if we can call that a fight. That just looks like cold-blooded murder. Sathos just getting gunned down. Jin, the serial killer himself, just getting taken out in cold blood. Just ran down by Demonic Ascension here.
I like this.
And
I like
they're
this.
going to take this tower. Yeah, they're going to get all these plates, but they're splitting all the gold, and they're not getting a lot of this onto their big carry in that Xayah. They are getting some of it onto the Viego, though, but going to be able to take this tower as now a teleport being channeled as well. Well, this is the Ahri coming in. She should have ultimate available, but the Maokai has already fallen. And now Fox can get this reset on the Maokai clone. Pay attention to where he casts his W. Does get on top of Deity here, and Arcane smashes back into the team, and it's enough to get the damage down and another reset. And that's another clone. Gets the CC from the Hui clone, and ends up landing the charm back on to Jin, who will end up falling as well. A triple kill for the Viego here in the bottom side. Make it a quadra kill. And if he had teleport, get him into the top lane for the Penta. But we'll see if Golden Pharaoh can make this one work here. Get his teammate the honorable Penta. Won't be able to do it, but my god, Fox on that Viego. We were just talking about this man on this champion being the hope for this team, and he absolutely makes it known with a quadra kill.
It's absolutely insane to just watch all that happen, especially with all the shutdowns that were just given over to that Viego. Oh man, he is going to be, and now they're once again taking over the macro game, being able to secure the second Drake and keep their Drake stack going. It is just
the faithful shall be rewarded, though, because they got the early objectives. They got the early Viego kills. It looked bad for them in the early game here with how strong this Riven was, how strong this Volibear was, the Hui popping off. But in this last team fight, the Ruined Cade stood against all of those odds and killed 4 champions. Just absolutely disgusting. I love seeing this performance from a jungler, clearly not biased. But man, you love to see it.
No, it's honestly, it's great jungle play. Hold on, I think Fel is feeling a little engagey.
Yeah, looking like he was looking for a little bit of something there. Some Hylissine-esque movements, just really playing on the edge here. Not sure if Inting or Genius, but gonna go in for some ward clearing. Should be able to get that one. Looks for a little bit of a W onto Deity. Not gonna find it. Gonna instead find about a quarter of his health bar just chunked away from 1 QQ. As insert name here, I don't think you can really take this word on the Maokai, as we do see some crowd control land now into the Fox, who jumps back away, plays ultimate down, not going to be available anymore, but not going to need it. Empire for Hire is getting ran down, crowd control should be down from the Jin. No. Sathos finding that kill, but the Viego popping in now, Deity going to end up falling. The possession not in time though. Bathos taking out the jungler for the side of Demonic Ascension, opening up with the ult, and just not finding nothing, just clear the wave, yeah. But oh my god, killing Fox there before he could possess that clone, that lethality from the Jhin collected in the ult chat, by the way. We'll see if the fourth shot can get anything else going on here. Has to reload though, doesn't have much else in the tank. We'll see if they end up going forward. Xayah just expends the ultimate, but the Feathers aren't going to find it to be on the pullback. They're just walking away. Satho's going to get slowed down though, should end up falling. And the shutdown actually will go over to Console. Absolutely huge that he gets that. His first kill in the game, and really going to put him on the map here for this mid game.
This is actually what it's crazy to say, like with all the fighting still going on, this is actually what Demonic Ascension wants to have happen. I know it's going to sound a little crazy, but this is exactly what they want. They want to see themselves with the current undefeated team in the league transitioning into the mid game. They're still on even footing, and this is something
they're ahead. They have a Fed carry jungler, and they have a 2-dragon lead. They don't have much of a gold lead, but their state on the map right now is insane. If they can manage to get this Rift Herald and transfer even more gold into their pockets, as the Mega Blast Code actually going to deliver Mod Black straight to his own demise. We've seen this so many times. Don't take the Omega Blast Code when the enemy team's on the objective. You will die, and he pays the price. Volibear, falling down on that one. You pour one out. You know, everybody's taken the Omega Blast Code to death before. It's okay.
The Omega Death Cone. That's a good way of putting it. Like, I was very surprised to see Mont Blanc go in there. I don't think the Rift Herald was something worth giving up your life for. But that's just, oh, hold on. That's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage. Spiraling Despair coming through. The burn should be enough onto the Ahri. We'll see if she ends up dying on the back end, but Deity getting some shielding down. Does end up leaving here, but no! Ends up falling, and Viego gets the possession. There is a kill put down onto Console, ends up falling. Viego, another possession, though. The shutdown onto Omega. Fox is so strong in this game. Another triple kill. Let's see if he can make it another quadra kill. This is actually a pentakill angle. We'll see if his team actually plays with him and helps him get this. He can get the pentakill, another possession. He has the Volibear. See if he gets the stun. He's going for it. Goes into the tower, lands a stun.
Goes in it.
Gets the Q and auto attack reset and the clone and the fast recall for the reset after the pentakill. Fox is taking him to task this game on the Viego. 13-5, an absolute statement of a performance.
We got a TP coming up from above the 2.
A TP from above. Deity refusing to let this game go quietly into the night, but he maybe is going to fall himself. Gets charmed up, but a good amount of damage back, and actually has the support of Insert Name here now on the Maokai. Deity's so low, but gonna end up actually falling there. But he gets the kill onto Empire for Hire, as well as that guy's name, man, I cannot.
We just call him Fell.
Fell, thank God. Okay. As well as Fell ends up getting felled himself. And the top lane, Golden Pharaoh, quietly up 30 CS, but honestly, I don't think that really matters in the state of this game at this point. Has that Hall Breaker, though, so we'll be trying to get these split push angles off, which I really love in this game state, with how strong your jungler is and how focused, you know, the enemy teams can be around like these jungle objectives. You can still make some things happen in the side lane with that Hall Breaker. I really like that adaptation from Golden Pharaoh, as INT opting to just go for the dragon here. They knew they had the strength in numbers and should just be able to take it. So well done by them to be in the position to get this and be grouped early enough where they could deny this sole point.
That's perfectly fine by them, but I think Demonic Ascension is not really feeling the loss too much of this one particular Drake. But it's funny. It's like literally I'm telling you, Fox heard that we started putting highlight reels in the Seer, and he's like, oh, wait a second, I gotta show off. And this, I'm telling you, if this Viego's not banned in the next game, or you guys force DA to try to do some completely different composition that they're not really used to, it might be potentially, it could be looking down the barrel of a 2-0 or a 2-1 for DA side, because right now I was expecting Riven to be running through everything, but Urgot here is able to stabilize everything with a little 40 CS lead. And wait a second, we got a little bit of an engage 2v3.
Yeah, skirmish breaking out here. Mont Blanc gonna get that ultimate off, but there's so much damage from Deity just throwing it out. Just absolutely obliterating Golden Pharaoh. Those Hallbreaker stats not seeming to matter too much there in that situation. May have been removed, I don't know, the proximity of his teammates there. Over that wall, but really just getting melted by the Hui, and I think that is the one point that INT have that is so strong with this champion and the way he's chosen to itemize and the way that his kit can interact with these enemy champions on the side of Demonic Ascension, who, for all things considered, are pretty close range. And Hui is pretty good at punishing that, as we see Fox here in the top lane, looking to try to punish Deity himself, gets the fear off to get a decent amount of movement, but still gets slowed down. Should get stunned up by the W, just barely gonna miss actually, and doesn't have that ultimate available anymore, or the flash. He already expended it, gonna get crowd controlled and locked up here. Not enough here to convert a kill, and Fox actually over aggressive there as Empire for Hire sees that his jungler falls there and sees the commitment on the top side for the enemy team and knows he can go in here on Reaper, who may have been a bit overextended and will just get chained straight into the gut of the Golden Pharaoh, taking down this Riven, who we had just touched on. I think it's important to touch on the fact that you mentioned that we expected to see this Riven get fed. She did get fed. That's a 6-kill Riven, but the macro movements, like chat pointed out early in the game, the macro from the side of Demonic Ascension has been significantly better pretty much the entire game. And while INT have had these kill leads and lane leads, they haven't really capitalized on a lot of them, and we've seen Demonic Ascension just get these constant group team fights, and it showed with these Viego multi-kills.
And I want to say thank you, Blitz, for not only being on production, but being in the chat and pointing out certain things that we don't always get to see as the two casters here on the desk. But he did point out that the last 2 big shutdown kills that did go through, it actually went over to Maokai. And with that, that's also another like kind of thorn in the side of INT, where now the Maokai has more of the gold. Like, yeah, he gets tankier, which can be helpful. But at the same time, you're now looking down the barrel like, well, we could have had that on our Jhin, we could have had that on our Riven, we could have had that on our Hui. And
I mean, at this point, you take what you can get in these fights for INT. Like, whoever's getting the kill, it doesn't really matter. It's more important that you're able to get the objective afterwards when you're taking these team fights. As we see a fight here, Deity getting jumped on, but fell a little bit far from his team, not able to follow up, maybe just trying to get some zoning pressure out as we look at Pharaoh in the bot lane. He's pushing out that bottom lane. I'd love to see him commit to this push so his team can apply some pressure to Baron, but honestly, maybe they don't even have to. Mont Blanc just having to flash there and commit the ultimate. Probably still gonna end up falling though. Viego just shreds those tanks and gets the Volley Bear clone on the reset. Now such a powerful body to possess. Gets the ultimate off. We'll see if he can get the reset on the Maokai. If he does, it's going to be huge. Gets feared away. Doesn't quite have the damage. Does end up getting that kill, so can reset the Maokai. Now we'll see if we get another multi-kill. No, Console has stolen the multi-kill opportunity, but it doesn't matter because they have stolen the lives of all 4 members of Deity's team, as he can only look on in horror watching the Viego fail the Riven combos on the clone, and the Viego and his team take this Baron right in front of him. He didn't just want to spectate. He thought he could maybe make an impact, but is going to have to run this one out. A nice Zhonya's to stop the charm, but it's not going to stop his demise. Golden Pharaoh putting him in a sarcophagus as the Ruined King and squad take the Baron. Even going to donate the gold to Fel. Doesn't even have to use the smite. Good guy jungler.
Anybody else was holding their breath during that fight for Fox when like we were just sitting, I was sitting there waiting, like I couldn't, it's like all, you just see all that massive chaos in the middle of everything going on. And it's just like, did he get it? Did he get it? Did he get it? And all of a sudden you just see, and the reanimated Volley Bear running towards their team. So I'm just like, okay, yeah,
you
he
have
got
to imagine
it.
the same thing going through their brains, just hoping that this Viego doesn't get that one reset, but then they see their fallen comrade rise from the ashes and know that the game is over. As
This is
Omega
confidence right
in
here.
the bot lane here, gonna dodge out on that Recon W with a nice dash of his own, but Mont Blanc here trying to make something happen. They figured the enemy team is going to be on Dragon, so they want to make a play on part of the map, burning the ultimate out. Console getting pretty low, doesn't quite have that ultimate available, so won't be able to dodge out on this one. And Fel gonna be felled himself yet again here. The kill going to Maokai, but we take those as Fox just taking some wards on this side of the map. I don't think he can 1v4. We'll see if he can pull it off. Gets the kill onto the Jhin, maybe. Oh, he actually, if he could have ulted to the Jhin, he might have been able to actually take this, but ends up ulting away to try to live. Does do so much damage to Mont Blanc. There's no way he gets the reset onto this Mont Blanc. Surely he doesn't get this kill. Okay. He actually ends up falling there. If he got that reset, I would have lost it, but doesn't end up getting it there. Gonna take some resets here themselves, are Ari and Pharaoh.
Jeez, I can't, I don't even know what to say there. That was just, I think that was bad play on Felon console, unfortunately, to try to just push and get like catch this Riven out. At that point, like, yeah, you're ahead of them and such, but you don't know where the rest of their team was. There was no real vision. There was lacking vision pushing forward towards that enemy red side. So I honestly would have said just take the wave and back off. Don't worry about trying to get the Riven when it's not necessary, especially knowing that she can just immediately escape from a Rakan much easier than Rakan can land onto her.
Yeah, sometimes it's lacking vision. Sometimes it's lacking your eyeballs actually looking at the vision on the mini map. But it is what it is. We take those. Still a significant lead here for the side of Demonic Ascension. Only 3K in the gold lead, but the way these team fights have gone have just felt so strong for the side of Demonic Ascension. Their champions just seem pretty tough to kill. Largely, Rakan, Xayah pretty slippery, Ahri very slippery, the Viego incredibly strong, and Urgot's not there. So he's in the side lane. He's side laning. This team has played pretty much a 4-1 as Reaper here. Maybe caught out again, trying to side lane himself, but
This time, 3 members.
not going to be able to do it very effectively, as you will get charmed up here. They commit actually the Xayah ultimate, but don't even get the root for it. Just going to follow up with auto attacks and run it down, but Fel gets the kill anyway. The aggro Xayah ultimates is something I never like to see, because it's inherently a defensive ability. I hate when I see people try to engage with it, because then you're running forward to try to pull your feathers backwards, and it makes no sense. As we see Pharaoh here doing his job, absorbing this pressure in the mid lane as the rest of his team pushes here in bot.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just attempted to. Oh, I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if he just kept
He's gonna stop
attempting to
the recalls,
their backs. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I like that he's pressuring them there. A bit disjointed from INT. Not really a lot of direction here what they want to do in this mid game. It is tough to play this kind of a game state when you are feeling like the fights just are not going your way. Your split pushes are not really going your way. Insert name here, throwing the Maokai ultimate out to try to escape. Does get a pretty good angle to make it out though, and Mont Blanc was in there, but he's pretty tanky. But already insert name here falling to the Viego, who takes the Maokai clone as Hui gets the shutdown of the Urgot on the backline. But I don't think it matters, because the rest of his team is just collapsing to the might of this Ahri Viego, just getting these resets constantly, taking down the members of INT, and every single fight has felt like it's just inevitable for this Viego after a certain point. Just so strong, just getting one of these kills, and we touched on this in Champ Select, but my god, they are making it look so good in these team fights.
Easily executable comps usually lead to easy wins in games. Well, not necessarily easy, but definitely leads to a much more.
Oh, but they're making it look easy with the knockup on the 2 now. Deity getting that Zadius off again, but again, it will not save his life. He will end up falling. Insert name here finally spawned after dying so early on in that exchange, but I don't think it matters as the teleport coming through here to preserve the creep wave. Not much damage going on to the tower yet though, as no auto attacks have been spared to kill those turrets, and the minion wave all but gone. You'd think that probably a reset here for Demonic Ascension, but the Jhin ultimate gonna come through to try to maybe slow that down. The dragon gonna be spawning here in 40 seconds. Demonic Ascension probably wants to get a reset off here so they can go contest that. And it doesn't look like anybody from INT is going to have anything to say about that reset.
They're looking to just at least get some push of vision. They don't want to maybe walk into a death brush or anything like that. You see how all their members, including the Riven, is sitting there. They're all traveling as 4. They don't want to run into any potential risk of anything happening, getting caught in the middle of a death brush. All of a sudden, Viego gets his resets off again, and now you're dealing with the same exact situation of another quadra or pentakill potential from this Viego, and we just see immediately on
just
2.
Going straight in though, straight down onto this Maokai, who ends up dying again, and that's another instant Maokai clone reset for the Viego, throwing a sapling out in defiance, and gonna take the Omega Blast Cone himself this time, but it will not be to his death. It will be to claim the soul of the Chemtech Drake for his team. And though it's not the strongest soul, when you have champions like Viego, Ahri, and Urgot, who have this kind of team fight sustained playstyle, you really like to have that kind of a shield heal buff on those types of champions. Even the Rakan, as they move towards the Baron now, it just seems it's all over but the formalities here for Demonic Ascension, as they stayed true to their name and ascended into this late game state that just looked monstrous.
Yep, this is what I'm sure that INT was not expecting this going into game 1 whatsoever. They didn't expect the Viego to actually be a problem.
They're sprinting straight back in at them. TTV EOD fell has the stream on, and his chat is saying you aren't allowed to recall. You have to keep fighting. He's on some sort of donator hype train.
Also, you think that they're backseat gaming for him right now, and they're like, bro,
No.
keep going. You're Rakan. Go in. I could just hear it now. And right now we're sitting at just roughly under 2 kills a minute, probably more like 1.5. I like to see these kinds of games where it's just like, oh, every single moment you're expecting a kill almost every other minute, and it's really nice to see that now these teams are really getting scrappy with it. And but there's so much. It's funny that you look at like the shutdowns, for example. Like the gold lead is over 7,000. Oh wait, hold on, never mind. Let me not speak too soon.
Speaking of shutdowns, Demonic Spiraling Despair are going to go into Fox and going to end up shutting him down here as the rest of his team now going to end up trying to fight, but without that Viego, just so much of your damage going to be a little tough. As the Hui damage is real, but so is the Xayah damage, and the Urgot to boot ends up taking that kill on the back end. Ari's Charm going to land, but one of the Volibear shouldn't be in too much danger here to end up falling.
They still have
as
the Baron
Urgot able
too.
to kind of just stand in front, block most of these shots for his team. Probably can't block too much more of those, but ends up letting the flip. Baits by standing so close and gets the flip back on to Mont Blanc, taking him down, and should be able to take this tower down as well. Some good damage down from Deity onto Empire for Hire, but it's just not enough, and Tower's going to end up falling, Inhibitor's going to end up falling. We'll see if any more resets come through for Empire for Hire. Charm going to go wide. We'll see if any more damage can come through. The shield's going to prevent the tower damage, but so much damage from Deity. Still looking so good on display, but not good enough to just not die to this Urgot. The tower going to fall, but so is Urgot, but the Xayah pullback can end up taking down Omega the Reaper. Reaped himself here on his own Nexus turrets, at his Nexus with his towers falling before his eyes. Seeing this in black and white, though, how fitting for the God of Death that he's going to end up falling in this game alongside his team as Demonic Ascension, the late game monsters, take game 1 of the series.
The faithful shall be rewarded. Everyone that betted for Demonic Ascension to win this game, you guys made a really good choice. And they did it in a very convincing fashion that even so, with the early game, them being behind, I want to know who's the shot caller on that team, who was making the calls for everything that was going on, because the macro play overall was just absolutely. If it wasn't for that macro play, I don't think that team wins there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, there's always going to be questions in the mid game if how you use your gold that you're able to acquire in the early game, and we saw leads acquired by INT in the early game against Demonic Ascension. They had significant laning leads built up for themselves, but the objectives still seemed to swing the way of Demonic Ascension, like we touched on when that was happening into the later part of the game. So, like you're saying, just the resource allocation is something we're going to have to pay attention to. So if we're going to be getting early lane leads, I really want to see INT transition those into some objective and map plays, and just generally level up their objective and map play, because I think that their individual play was quite good.
Most definitely. The individual lane play was really good. This is like that's something that I particularly talk about with like HYG a lot, where they're a really good early game team, and generally once they start to transition into the mid game, sometimes like their early game leads, they don't really like transition them well, but it seemed like last week that's changed for them. So, and this is something that was like I was very interested to see as well this time around, was the overall lead being in INT's favor in that early game, where we saw the 3-0, you know, with 3-0 Hui in the mid lane. We saw it was a 2-0 Riven up in the top side. And then all of a sudden, we just saw that it was, hey guys, yeah, we're giving up some of these kills, but as long as we can keep the map under our control and we're able to make something really work with that. And that's what led to Viego not only being able to get so damn fed because he just knew where people were in the jungle, but they just took these fights that were just so well done. I honestly have to say good job to them. And with that said, real quick, Zaba will be right back. And I'm seeing right now in the chat, I like to really go ahead and look at the chat real quick whenever, you know, we're taking these small breaks in between, as Demonic Ascension goes to 1-0. Golden Pharaoh, the captain of that team, came in to say real quick that it's not a single person, it was a collective thing. I want to say honestly, I think it's a lot harder when it's actually a collective of people trying to make the calls versus just a singular person having the ability to, say like vote on this and like see if this is really a good idea. Um, and being like that real shot caller, because you're gonna have a bunch of differing ideas between everybody on your team, especially considering that everybody is a different role. So it being a collective thing and you guys doing, being able to win in that kind of fashion, I honestly, I would say you guys, kudos to you. That was actually very well done. Um, Fox finally won some points. Yeah, man, you had to bet on yourself and you went hard. Hey man, don't start giving away all your stuff. All right, you're doing really well, but you still got another game you got to get through. Don't fly too close to the sun just yet. You still got to go. You still got something to go through. Listen, man, the other day I ended up winning like 5K points because I hyped up people to vote for another team by accident, and then I just voted against it, and it actually got me points, and I was very surprised. Sometimes you got to just bet against yourself, but this time you bet it on yourself, and it worked for you. I mean, yeah, someone didn't pick you up. That's actually, I'm very surprised. The fact that you still drew a ban to this game, you're not on any teams or anything, but they still drew the ban for your kindred. Like that's respect. That's a lot of respect. So you should definitely be feeling yourself a little bit on that one. Like the moment that you got in and was like, oh, they banned my kindred, cool, you had another pick ready. This is gonna be this. I'm excited. I'm really excited for these next for the next game or the next two games that we might end up seeing. I don't think INT has any. I don't think they lost all their fight. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if literally once things started going south, they just kind of said, "All right, mentally reset. Let's go on for the next two games and win the next two." Um, I know personally playing with Deity, like from him being my jungler in season two, the like that's his mentality. Like it could be like shit can really hit the fan and a whole shit ton. Like it could just literally the game could go to complete crap, and then it'll be like, all right, guys, let's just go on to the next one, and then we can end up winning the next game because it's just you just need that mental reset, and it's good. I think INT having a member like Deity on their team for things like that, like that's actually something that can be applauded, is that you need somebody who can help give that mental reset to your team. And as you can see, Fox was giving the shout out to Deity as well. Definitely, like, and I want to say, like, INT, you guys are playing well. It's just this time around, they were able to work around your macro and out macro you. And that's something that maybe you guys have to just look into this time around. Maybe you need to ban out the Viego this time as well, because that was definitely a damn good get out of jail card for quite a few different fights. Because anybody else, it probably would have been an immediate death unless they had like some damn good shielding and healing. I learned today that also Hui damage, even level 1, level 2, with one item is absolutely disgusting. So yeah, I will always watch out for that champion. I love seeing this sportsmanship, man. I love it. I really do love it. This is what gets me excited for these next games, man. It's just seeing people, saying well played, GG's in the chat, and their good sportsmanship. That's the type of stuff that gets the competitive that give me like competitively going. Like yes, let's do this. Game two is gonna be sick. Game two is gonna be sick. I'm not sure if anybody wants to chime in here. Somebody from the audience, not from one of the two teams. If you guys want to maybe give INT some, give INT some hints, some pointers. What did you guys view in the game while we're currently waiting? What did you guys view in this game from INT side? What could you guys say to them like, "Hey, maybe change this up?" I personally think that I don't think that necessarily they need to completely change anything. I think their comp was fine because it actually ended up working. They did win them a couple of different team fights. Um, I would just say that they just gotta maybe play to just play their macro a little bit tighter. It might just lead to that. Like once you play that a little bit better, also just some things like Fox did this too. but it was sometimes where like people just went in and it was just like, okay, maybe that was not the best time to go in. This happened on both sides, but definitely try to, maybe look for those coin flip moments that you feel like, okay, this could end up being a victory. Maybe think second about that, make it more like a 60-40 in the favor of, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this. And I think with that said, we are ready to get right into the draft lull.
Yep, I'm getting pulled away on some baby duty, but just waiting for these teams to ready up. I really like what InzertNameThere did in lane, but I think they need to play a little safer bot lane that gave them the early kill got given over to the Fox's Viego to help get that snowball rolling. So I think you need to play a little bit safer down there. I think Sathos is going to have to be on like a Sivir or something that can play very safe but can clear the wave and let Inzert roam and help the rest of the team, especially getting to those early Krugs and just being able to provide that additional pressure to the other lanes and make sure that he's able to match Fel.
So you'd say Sathos has to play Saphos?
Absolutely.
And
Roger.
welcome back, Zabel, as we eagerly await for these two teams to go ahead and start the draft lull. There was a lot that was said in between the times that we're currently waiting for the teams to get into. I'm sure that they're right now having like a little powwow session, little kumbaya session. Like, all right, guys, let's do this. Demonic Ascension, are they going red side again? Have they chosen or not entirely sure?
We see that on the overlay, but it might just be left over from the last lobby.
That's what I'm interested to see, because I know that Demonic
InzertNameThere
is
took blue.
okay. So yeah, because Demonic Ascension actually likes red side. They like red side a lot, from what I feel, and it's actually very interesting. I remember there was a time where people hated playing red side completely, but like I guess some people just really like having those early counter picks to be able to be given to them for the red side. Uh, man, this is going to be very interesting. I'm curious to see if they can play to that ability again, because this is the same kind of it's funny that they took out one jungler and put a new one in already, but there's not much of a change of difference in how the two are, like, not necessarily how they're playing, but like how the team is performing overall between these two different junglers. Like, the jungler comes in, improves, and then this jungler comes in and it kind of stays the same in their performance. With this smart macro play, it just feels like this team, if this team can carry this all season, that's going to be absolutely insane. They're going to be definitely a top team.
Absolutely.
And if they can defeat INT here, even if it takes 3 games to do so, that's gonna definitely open up probably a lot of people to, they're gonna open up their ears to Demonic Ascension a little bit more. So I think right now this is actually a really big statement game for both teams. I wasn't expecting statement games this early, but like this is the big statement game for both teams right now. And
yeah,
like,
any ball worshippers in the chat? any satanic Satan worshippers for Demonic Ascension? Just pop it off here, collecting their energy from somewhere. And I'm excited to see what their draft looks like in game 2, if they opt to play another kind of a carry jungler, if that Fioki gets banned away. Like, what are the options INT is going to take? Demonic Ascension valuing that red side. We'll see if they opt to take any more interesting counter picks too. Always interesting to see that. But really, for the side of INT, I'm looking at Deity in this next series to really have more of an impact. So fed on that way, and maybe not like as much as kills as the Riven, but just so much damage he was dealing, just able to get so much harass off in the laning phase, and even in the later stages of the game, you saw how much impact he was able to have with some of these abilities, skill shots landing, but just not quite able to find the team fight impact with being so far behind, and just the team fight looking weaker for INT. So I really want to see Deity kind of have a pop-off game here in the next one, because he's looking like he's prepping to do so, but the team's not quite able to come together around him to make it happen. But I really think they're able to, if they can kind of play a little more focused together.
I like that you said that. It's sometimes because you could see, it's very rare to see when somebody is trying to bolster their team a lot more. And that was something that Deity was trying to do. Like, he was actually doing very well on like some of his roam timers, seeing where people were going, rotating up when he saw that his jungler was engaging on others. Like, that's something that, it just being that conscious and that aware of what your team is doing is already a skill in itself. And you just got to have your team also be able to come around that too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing, this time being like a call to action from them, being like, hey guys, we gotta do something here.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. Still waiting on the champ select here. Assuming the lobby is being made and they're just getting it together. But as far as adjustments for that particular part of the game, are you expecting to see any ban changes based on the last game results?
If that Viego isn't one, that's gonna be extremely disappointing. But I'm expecting Viego ban. I'm expecting a. Don't be surprised if the Urgot gets banned too, because eventually it got to the point where we've been waiting for Cass for a little bit now. Sorry guys. It's just I think Blitz had to step away for a moment, but we are good. Like we have the draft lull up, so we should be good for you guys to start the draft. But I just want to see, the team, like I said, the overall team macro just tighten up a little bit for INT. And I think they could literally run back the same exact composition again. And I think some things just need to change up in the overall gameplay and they would be just fine.
I could definitely see that. See if they make some changes or adjustments. But yeah, I mean, I think they definitely have angles to come back in this series and make it competitive. Even the last game was competitive. There were kills back and forth, but Demonic Ascension able to pull it together in the end as the bans come through.
Yeah, here we go, getting right into the bands. So this is where I want to see the changes being made, and we already are getting changes, at least from INT side, where we see the Karma and Viego ban and the Rakan ban from INT, while we see Demonic Ascension going with some of their same bans, actually all three of the same bans from last round, with the Singe, the Ashe, and the Swain.
Yeah, and crucially, going to see that Viego banned away on the side of INT, taking that away from Fox on Demonic Ascension, and picking that Zac, such a strong pick here in the meta, in the top lane and the jungle. We'll see where they choose to take it, but Demonic Ascension here responding.
I like to see that kind of response. It's just something that you just got to do. It's like, okay, cool. They wanted like he mentioned too that he wanted the Zac last time. So it's like, okay, instead of us taking the Volibear, we're going to take the Zac. And what's crazy is that if they don't pick the Volibear here for the side of DA, the Volibear is still very much open for INT for the jungle. This is probably going to be a top lane Zac.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see the strong bot lane here taken for Demonic Ascension, Zeri Lulu, just such a great lane combo. Pretty safe too, if they opt to be played away from. Just a high amount of mobility. Able to kite back. INT has a strong amount of engage here, which is with only the Zac showing, honestly, so far. Can choose to pair this with some other sorts of dive. But we'll see what they opt to go here for with their draft. Nautilus just love to see that pick into this area. Having that point-click CC option on a hyperscaling marksman like Zeri, who is so good at kiting out and just getting away. Just to follow up with the Zac combo. Love to see that draft here from INT, and we'll see what they take for their third choice to round out their first phase. Maybe looking towards just taking a mid lane blind pick here. Might opt to go for an AD carry pick as well.
I mean, they definitely could go for the AD carry pick here, knowing that they already know who they're going up against, and it's looking like the Jinx. Yep.
Yeah, there's the Jinx. I love that. So just match late game scaling hypercarry for late game scaling hypercarry. You have the front line already for your Jinx with the Nautilus Zac. Just two of honestly the S tier champions in their respective roles. As Demonic Ascension going to respond with the Wukong, which is really good at getting access onto that backline, onto someone like the Jinx. And especially, honestly, against the likes of CC that you have on INT with the Nautilus and with the Zac kind of just knocking back and bouncing away. Wukong's clone can interact with those crowd control options pretty interestingly and avoid a lot of that. So might still be able to find some pretty easy access here onto the Jinx, and we'll see what they end up pairing as they've banned away now the Annie and the Silas on the side of Demonic Ascension. Aurelion Soul taken away by INT and still weighing their options for that 5th ban will be the Urgot. So some respect bans here in this draft with the Rakan, Viego, and Urgot being banned away. Already not banned away, though, and Demonic Ascension happy to grab that one for themselves.
This time around, their comp seems a little bit more difficult to actually execute from what they want to do. It's funny that they just didn't run it back with the they can't run it back with the Lovers Duo, but I'm surprised they didn't run like Zaya Lulu or something like that, wanting to run back
It's just such a better combo with the Zeri Lulu.
Yeah.
It's just such a better lane combo. And getting that one half of the lane taken away with the Zaya, they probably figured we'll just play a better lane combo as we see INT going for the Riven. So actually going to be a Zac jungle here, interestingly, on the side of INT. Taking that Riven pick again, maybe thinking that it's a Wukong top lane. Riven actually extremely strong into Wukong in the laning phase, but we'll see what that ends up being here. Is INT choosing their mid lane now? They know they're against the Ahri.
I'm interested to see what they'll end up picking. Oh,
We'll be the Taliyah. Actually love that pick. A high amount of dashes already available on the side of Demonic Ascension, and Taliyah just so strong on the mid lane right now. We mentioned this S tier kind of a picks. Honestly, INT's draft with the Zac, with the Taliyah, with the Nautilus, even in some respects the Jinx. Very strong, but Renekton coming through here. I really like what Demonic Ascension have crafted for themselves. They have these highly mobile kind of diving bruisers with a mobile AD carry that has the support of an enchanter. So even if you're getting jumped on by the Riven, the Zac, maybe even the Nautilus probably is going to have to be peeling, honestly, but Zeri is going to be relatively safe because of the amount of threats Demonic Ascension have going for the backline of INT, who honestly have drafted for themselves significantly lower damage on their team comp. When you look at the side of Demonic Ascension, you look at the Wukong and the Renekton and the Ahri and the amount of damage they're going to be layering down, not going to be quite equivalent here with the likes of like Zac, Riven, Nautilus outside of some burst combos. So
you know what this
we'll
comp
see.
says to me? You know what this comp says to me for Demonic Ascension? It says to me, we want to win the early game this time and make sure that you guys don't have a chance to come out of it. And that's what I'm kind of feeling from them. As you said, like the damage profiles, when you look at the spread, is already higher on the side of Demonic Ascension. So what's to stop them from trying to utilize those early game stat checks and trying to make sure that they can take out one or two members, try to get somebody behind before that 15-minute mark, where now it's like, okay, the teams are, they don't want to be even at 15 minutes. They want to make sure that they're more ahead than they were in that last game. And I think that's what this comp is meant to help do, while also mitigating any potential like bot lane dives or any type of shenanigans that could happen in that bot side.
Well, honestly, any of these things can still happen. We'll have to see how the map stake goes early, but I really do like the compositions from honestly both of these teams. Pretty strong identities with kind of trying to play around their late game scaling, AD carry, have some bruisers and some backline access, as well as just a mid lane mage. I really like when teams draft like this. It's pretty easy to play these types of compositions in a cookie cutter style, and some good old fashioned old man League of Legends we're about to witness here. You love to see it. We'll see if they can bring us back here, INT, to a 1-1 in the series, or if Demonic Ascension make it a clean sweep. I am excited to see.
If I'm being completely fair, if they make it a clean, like I said, if they manage to make it a clean sweep, which they're really, really trying to make it so that they can. But if they manage to make this one in particular a clean sweep for themselves, I think that's at least gonna be, that's at least gonna talk much for them. Like it's gonna be like, okay, DA, you guys, we shouldn't just come, because again, the entire league from the Pick'ems votes, it was a 90-10 split, and people probably were expecting a 2-0 more than likely for the side of INT, and now we're looking down the barrel of they really could get 2-0 right here. So no worries, Blitz, man. You listen. It's the role of being a parent, man. You got to do what you got to do. We're all here. We kept the crowd going. Everyone is still here, and I think the draft literally just finished like maybe 30 seconds ago for the draft lull, 30 seconds to a minute ago. So they should be getting into the actual draft now. But yeah, I think we're ready to get going into the actual draft. Yikes! I wanna say go.
Predictions.
I wanna say go DA again, but just I feel like this time around though the comp for INT is gonna be a little bit tighter, and this Talia this time is gonna allow for Deity to be able to roam a little bit more and get to places faster where he might have been needed and could have maybe turned the tide of a fight. So I think that's kind of where they're looking for it. Long range engage with the ability to get into fights very quickly, try to separate teammates and all that kind of stuff. So I think INT has a decent idea for what they want to do with their composition, but DA just overall picked very easy champions for them, for all of them to be able to play.
Yeah, I mean, arguably the Nautilus, Talia, Zach here have a pretty easy time executing their roles in these fights. Going to be a little tough for the Wukong Ari to find these angles, and the Zarya is going to have to be pretty agile in a lot of these engages. But I am excited to see how these end up playing out. I'm hoping we go the distance.
I'm fully ready for I'm fully ready for 3 games. I'm completely ready for 3 games.
I got to spend my channel points. I have spent them all.
Oh wow, the DA belief is real.
I'm voting for them with all of my channel points. That's like the reverse curse. This
So
is
you
some
think that is
Jujutsu
gonna
Kaisen shit.
lose? Is it you? Do you think that's gonna force them to the game 3?
Yeah,
Betting
that's how
all
it
your
works.
points.
No is no.
He's like, I'm betting all my points just to get a game 3. All right, so I'll go the other side then, because then at least if you don't win, or you can at least get some points from me. We can reverse the games between one another. Oh
True,
wow, I
true.
didn't realize that that we're already 1 minute waiting into this. Right, and we are getting into the game.
Yes, sir. Get into this load screen again. See who wins the skin war.
All right, so we got 2
INT.
Team 4 skins.
Yeah, INT having actually a no skin angle on one of the champions, but same with Demonic Ascension. So foreskin versus foreskin, as you said. I think Dawnbringer Renekton and Underworld Wukong probably the coolest ones for me.
The Crystallis one for Talia is not bad either. But
Oh, that is
yeah,
really cool. That probably looks sick in game too.
the Warden Nautilus brings it down for me. That's the only one.
Yeah, it's a horrible skin. So, yeah, I'm going to say Demonic Ascension again. An early advantage here. We'll see if they can manage to snowball the skin advantage into another win and make it a 2-0. Or if INT fight back in this series and bring us to a 1-1, bring us to that coveted 3rd game. And Pain's coming out here from Demonic Ascension to fan out. And we see the same pattern from INT. Doesn't look like we'll get any level 1 shenanigans. Just some awkward standing and staring.
I like how no one ever calls out the Ari skin. Oh wait, hold on. I think Talia was a little early on that. If they waited just 1 second, moment.
Fox actually leveling W and actually going over the wall there. Getting about 25% of his health traded away as Empire for Hire walking into the pick, and I have to end up flashing there.
Yeah,
as
pathing just over the wall.
Pathing that into that pit, gonna guarantee that flash, but maybe it was the only way for him to actually make it out there as well with his life. So gonna track that summoner in the mid lane. We'll see if Mont Blanc and Deity are able to punish that with some chain CC.
I think right now both teams are gonna really try to play it slow here, just to begin it off because, well, it's just how it works. they need to just start these games out slow, even though again the damage profiles and everything for the side of Demonic Ascension is higher. They still need to play things out a little bit slowly, so they don't just start getting that into their head that they could just win everything, and then they just start losing this early game immediately and giving some type of leeway to INT.
Yeah, not much early game options on the side of Demonic Ascension. Plays on the Rex side, on the Renekton side of the map, usually pretty good in the early game, very strong early game champion, but pairing with the Wukong, not super threatening. We'll see if anything happens up there as we see bot lane level 2 here should be happening pretty soon. Is the hook going to go wide? Insert name here. Not going to quite land that one as top lane trading, not going Pharaoh's way. Let's see if he actually gets the level 2 spike and does. Goes in, immediately procs that Conqueror. Half HP for Omega the Reaper, just as we mentioned. And the hook going to land again here. Bottom lane, insert name here, going to land that one. And not much damage going to be traded back, but is some pressure and the wave pushed in.
This is what I like, and this is exactly what you were kind of expecting. Either you need to put a lot of pressure onto the side of Demonic Ascension so they're not able to really get that lead that they want, or you just got to honestly, you're gonna have to just let them play into you the way they want to play, which is trying to, oh man, that was
the hook actually gonna land there too after the zap. We'll see if any summoners end up having to be burned. Doesn't look like it. Console holding on to those. The ignite also not going down. I wonder if insert ignites there, if they can maybe get the flash, but Empire for Hire going to take some damage here. Deity getting pretty low on mana. Insert still fishing for these hooks in the bot lane. He's feeling it. He knows he's landing almost everything. Gets onto the Lulu. Not going to be comboed up with the chompers quite too effectively as just sitting there behind it, but maybe they'll get that one the next time they go for that combo. It was such a strong combo, the Nautilus with the chompers. The amount of CC you can layer down and with that Jinx. Sathos, we talked about Sathos in the early game, but his support is having none of that. He wants to be perma-aggro here, it feels like, and it's paying off. You can play pretty aggro against these scaling bottom lanes of Zeri Lulu if you have the ability of something like a Nautilus.
I think at this point it's just a matter of who's gonna engage that first. Oh wow, nice dodge on that hook. I hate how it just magnetically telegraphs itself to the hook. Wait a second. Well, Fox isn't in danger. Never mind. I don't know why. I gotta remember Wukong has that damn get out of jail free card that he can use at least once.
Yeah. Fox using the power of the monkey there and making it out. And Riven just gonna take a recall here. Reaper getting off the map. It doesn't have teleport, so you're gonna have to walk it back to top lane. We're gonna subtract that, see how much of a deficit that actually ends up being for him, because didn't manage to get an ignite play off here in the early game, which is usually where you want to see the ignite used in this kind of a melee matchup, maybe on like the level 3, 4, or 5. So maybe he'd look to get a play off now on this reset, but not using that early usually just gives the teleport player such a big advantage. And Edie here, pretty in the mid lane, probably gonna get a reset himself. Empire for Hire just going to keep delaying that as Reaper going to have to catch a pretty big top wave, but Pharah going to be feeling really good about this. Up 14 CS here on this Renekton. Going to scale pretty much just alongside the Riven. Should be able to fight her at most stages of the game. Can't probably take the 2v1, but we'll see what he can do. Dodges out away from that E from the Zac, but gets pulled back in from the Elastic Slingshot. Does pop the Q for a good amount of healing, but I don't know if he can get out of a 3-man play without burning his flash. We'll see if he ends up having to allocate it. Doesn't end up using it. Goes for the heal and flashes anyway after the auto attack from Riven was already in the air and ends up getting taken down. And Omega not even burning that ignite, but still finding his kill. The Reaper in the top lane with the not solo bolo, but had his teammate there to back him up, and he ends up taking him down. Was looking pretty bad, but he got the kill.
That's what we call greeting your flash, and that is something we actually see Pharaoh do a lot. Is he likes to hold on to his flash till the very last moment, then it's like, oh shit, I should use flash now, and it's usually always too late by the time that happens. So it's like, oh man, and they're here again.
The ultimate to make sure this crocodile cannot get out. Somebody let Steve Irwin know he's still got shooters out here because they are taking down.
You know what? I'm not
in the top lane. Deity getting the kill. Absolutely huge just to return on this play. And Pharaoh falling again after having just teleported as well. Gonna feel so bad for this crocodile.
Hold on. After this, I'll say what I gotta say.
Yeah, Sathos. Gonna be Sathos, I think. Gets under the tower. Zeri not able to get does get the end of damage from the Lulu. The hell picks with the auto attack from Zeri, applying that last bit of damage and getting the kill for Console, feeling so good. His team getting shut down on the top lane on these plays and getting this kill in your hyperscale and AD carry has to feel so good for Demonic Ascension.
I definitely, and that's something that you need right now, especially when looking up towards that top side, and it was just a back-to-back roundabout ganks onto him. And I'm sorry, but you can't feel bad for the Croc in that moment when the Taliyah was basically seen on vision in his tri-bush, and they had grubs just gotten taken. So that should have been a call to the player to say, hey, maybe their whole team is up top side. I shouldn't be this far pushed up. And unfortunately, he gets punished for it by the side of INT.
Hey, I'll just say those crocodiles saw Steve Irwin the entire time, and they still took him out. Actually, I think it was a stingray. It wasn't even a crocodile, but let's say it was a crocodile for the purposes of this game. As he now goes in onto Reaper in the top lane with a nice trade, and Charm barely going to miss there onto Deity on that Taliyah. And honestly, I'm loving how these teams are allocating their pressure here in the game. Insert name here on this Nautilus, just so good with these hooks here towards the bot lane, but they get punished by the cross map when their team allocated all that pressure to the top lane. To get Reaper that kill, ends up getting a kill into Console, which is exactly where you want your gold. And if you're Demonic Ascension, you're feeling pretty good about this game. Even down that one kill, a couple hundred gold, you're going to be feeling good about the way bot lane's going. And if you're feeling good about bot lane with this draft, I think you're feeling pretty good about the game.
Definitely agreed. But we got another gank coming up. This time a 2-man.
Just here again. Reaper here as well. Pharaoh popping the ultimate should be able to get a good amount of healing. Dashes back over that Earth from Taliyah, and that will end up stunning him and just going to be able to be executed. Reaper again claiming another victim, using the Ignite this time, and Pharaoh will not survive. Straight to the sarcophagus, going to be respawning here with no teleport. We'll see if Fox can actually get anything done here. Does have that ultimate, will end up popping it. Has the challenging smite available. We'll see if he can get any double knockups with his team. He does. Empire for Hire here as well. Should be able to just clean up this kill with the last bit of damage on the Deity, but gets knocked back away. Not able to clean it up. But Fox getting the kill into the Riven on the backside. Deity so well played to actually make it out there. But still, his teammate ends up falling. This Wukong getting a kill is pretty big. Can snowball with his champion.
Honestly, I think we're seeing. Oh, hold on.
Oh,
right
he's just straight in, isn't he? But not gonna find too much purchase from that E. Go on.
I was gonna. I was just. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought for a second there because of the fact that we just see the Zac right there, and I'm like, oh great. But then I have to remember we have a Zeri, so she's just gonna right over the wall.
Yeah, she zipped right out of there as we see Omega trying to collect some of the CS, but yeah, how do you think? I think, honestly, for Demonic Ascension, they're probably feeling pretty good about this game state. Their Zeri is massively ahead. I would like to see some more focus on maybe some dives and plays to look for getting plates onto the Zeri, maybe some rotations, but the way they're playing the game, good enough to kind of scale into a mid-game state where you're at least even with a Zeri with some gold, but I want to see them push it a little bit more. We'll see if they opt to make a play here. They do have a roam here. Fell on the top side with Fox. Will get spotted out. They know that they're looking for a fight here, but crucially, both AD carries not here. Polymorph going to go down onto the Nautilus. We'll see here. Deity with first move.
The
Empire for Hire on the backside. They're actually just going straight in. Fox just jumping in. Jinxoff going to come down. Not going to quite hit on anybody with the Lulu on the backside. We'll see if Fox ends up falling. Does the Lulu ultimate on top of him. Gets pulled back in and actually still alive, but no. Ends up falling. Zac's passive going to proc as well. Omega the Reaper taking these kills. Gets exhausted. We'll see if he can actually find something, but no. On the backside, Deity is just doing work. Renekton, though, charmed away. Empire for Hire finally on the backside of the fight, and Golden Pharaoh just living for so long, buying so much time for his team. Reaper not able to do quite enough here, and Renekton healing so much over the wall. The RA damage is good, but not quite enough healing on Golden Pharaoh to live there. Insert name here, probably not going to end up living here. Empire for Hire with double buffs should just be able to run him down. Charm going to land. Insert name here, gonna end up falling. Empire for Hire taking that kill, and honestly, the top lane matchup again, Omega the Reaper getting pretty huge, but Golden Pharaoh still looking really scary.
This is the mentality of the players. They want to be even at the 15-minute mark, but at the same time, they want to try to be ahead. And we do see another engage right here from
just ult for ult here on the junglers. Fox gonna be worse for the wear on this one because he has the mid laner joining him. Deity joining his jungler, Mont Blanc, and if you're feeling pretty good about that one. And
He
pretty
still
good about
got one of those grubs, though.
He did get one of the grubs, ended up using his smite to take that one out before he fell, but getting 2 of them over there for the Zac is good. I don't know how much either team has.
It's 5-1 currently for the grubs.
Okay, so they're going to be feeling pretty good about that.
Steps up too far.
Empire for hire, and I believe that is a shutdown over to the Zac. I love when Zac gets like the mini blobs with the river fruit and then just his own like passive as well. Just heals so much. The champion is gross right now.
Yep, and this Drake is looking like it's gonna go right over to. Oh wait, no, Fox is
He's
actually here.
He actually steals it. He gets into the pit and takes it with the smite, but he's gonna maybe pay for it with his life. Will end up falling down. The kill going on to Mont Blanc, but Jinx still gets excited from that reset of the double pullback by Deity on this Talia over the scattered earth. As Console here though, getting excited on this Zeri too, going in, and Deity ends up falling in the backside. Ahri was there to just deal so much damage in the cleanup and provide so much of a threat space for this Zeri to pump auto attacks out. And on the top side, Golden Pharaoh getting 1v1. You have to think it's going to end up being a kill here, and it will. 400 gold to the Riven is now Empire for hire. Not going to give his life for Ire, so going to end up just backing off here, and Zeri in the bot lane getting these plates that we talked about.
Yep, I know Riven is currently winning up in that top side, but the other side of the rest of your map is currently not. It's like it's starting to smolder. It's not on fire, but with the Infernal map on, it could start to turn on fire, especially with the Drake stacking that is currently going on with DA. They don't have as much macro. They're not having as immaculate macro plays they were in the last game, but that's because as you can tell, INT has tightened up a bit, and you can start seeing them like how they're matching back and forth. This game is still 1,000 gold in the lead for the side of INT, but Demonic Ascension still it's mostly just because of kills. It's not really any objectives that are really causing this gold lead to balloon.
Yeah, they've got some kills. They've had some. They've had a good amount of CS. There's a massive CS lead on the Zeri as we see Deity getting ran down. Fell a little bit by himself though. Gonna maybe have to back this one up. Does get pulled back and end up gonna falling actually just a little bit too far forward. Actually giving the Hillesine impression here is Empire for hire. Gonna have to pop that ultimate as well to get out. As Fox here, gonna bring back to farm his camps, but this Nautilus now maybe gets something off in the mid lane, but actually doesn't even have to connect the hook because Deity is already here connecting everything. Gets the assist from the auto attack on the Nautilus, but Deity, just INT knows how their bread is buttered, and it is Deity flavored because he's absolutely popping off in this Talia, hitting all of these knockbacks. Crucially in the fight just before that, hit that double knockback to win them that exchange, and INT clapping back in the series.
Yeah, they definitely don't want a repeat of the last series, of the last game for themselves. And this time, Omega pushing in. I'm surprised it wasn't a polymorph that came out there, but I think that was because the shield already came down.
Yeah, I think you just give this if you're Demonic Ascension. They're posturing like they want to fight it, but they don't have their mid laner. Honestly, Omega played a little bit far forward, gave Demonic Ascension a little bit of an angle, but has lived for so long. Nautilus ultimate coming down onto Fox.
Lulu able to give the shield to the Renekton.
The shield comes through to the Renekton, yeah, but Mont Blanc popping his ultimate there on the backside to take down the Wukong. As the hook gonna land as well onto Pharaoh. Gonna be able to dash out with that E on the Renekton to get out, but Ahri actually going in now with charges on the ultimate. We'll see if he can actually go in and make anything happen. Can he hit the charm, get another reset? Burns the flash from Deity, who will end up making it out there as Golden Pharaoh healing off the wave. And honestly, it's kind of feeling a little bit like last game where INT had a lead in the early game. They have some plays that look pretty good. They have the kills. They have a small lead, but when we see these champions interact, it just feels like Demonic Ascension are winning a lot of these exchanges. But when Deity is there, that is not the case, as he just gets the solo bolo onto Fel, who doesn't even end up flashing or exhausting. Not able to get the CC onto Empire for hire, who ends up having to flash out, but they have follow-up CC. They've brought more. Nautilus is here with the hook and Rivet as well to flash in with the stun, and they're going to pop the Herald here too. This is the 5 Grub Herald. This is going to just obliterate this tower, and Zac piloting it straight into it, and we'll see if they can take this down and maybe drive it again. You love to see the double pilot. He is going to get into it, and they won't smite it or try to kill it, so they will end up getting the double charge. They're going to feel pretty good about that one. Maybe look for a reset now.
Now we're starting to see where INT is starting to make their lead really mean something, and a lot of it's going towards the mid and jungler, where that's actually where this gold you want to see. Oh no.
Not playing very safos. Gets the excited though on the tower kill, and actually should be doing good with the Wukong, who does have flash. The choppers get flashed over though. The ghost popped just way too late, and Sathos not playing safe enough will end up falling there. Did get the tower though, so you can kind of almost think worth on that Jinx, getting that tower gold for yourself. Just getting any gold you can, honestly. You give a kill to the Wukong, but you just say it's a fast base. you gotta get some gold on this Jinx somehow. As Infernal Dragon here in 15 seconds. I honestly don't know that INT really have to give this, but they're not set up. Their AD carry is dead, and the entire team of Demonic Ascension is here. They know that Jinx is not going to be here for this. We'll see if they just opt to push in.
I'm surprised they're not pushing more forward, actually. Oh, yep, there we go. So they're trying to pull this out. They want to be able to take this. Jinx is going to take a while to get there. So right now they're in the middle. They're in the midst of a 4v5 situation, and Zach is just walking right on up. The hook barely misses.
The charm's going to land though onto Reaper, who ends up having to go out immediately. Renekton popping the ultimate and going straight in. Nautilus ultimate going to land as well, and the actually Dragon is taken by Renekton, as the fight will probably be taken by Demonic Ascension here. Fox is dealing so much damage on that backline, but the rest of his team couldn't kill the Zac. They haven't gotten any kills yet to get the Jinx excited. Let's see if he can actually take him down. No, Pharaoh with the double kill, and now we pan back to Deity though, who is shutting down the entire backline, and Pharaoh can't quite get onto Jinx, but he's going to take him down as well, and Sathos was safe enough on the backside as his mid laner eviscerated the side of Demonic Ascension, eviscerated their hopes for taking this 2-0, and eviscerated their... Honestly, it's just so much damage, man. That Mod Black living there for so long. I thought Pharaoh was taking control, but no.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little worried that this Zac is getting to a point where it's going to be very difficult to take care of. And now the Jinx even having a couple kills under their belt with the Kraken, the BF sword, and trying to get even more. Hold on, they're going in on Deity.
Thirsty. He just smited him there. He canceled the Zac leap with the ultimate here. Fox just charging in, wants to kill Deity, but there's so much move speed for Talia here when she's next to these walls, and the CC, Wukong's already spent everything, does get the kill, but it's going to pay for it with his life. The gold going over to Nautilus, which, you know, get that Nautilus a little more tanky, because the amount of hooks this man has been landing, he deserves the gold.
Right now, I'm very interested to see what DA is feeling, because at this moment, it's right now they're winning by just they're not necessarily winning, but they're able to keep themselves in this game by getting random little picks here and there, but it's usually ending in a trade-off. So right now they won, they're ahead in the Dragon game. They're at least able to do that, but everywhere else is just, it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, having that Dragon lead on such a powerful Dragon is insane. So if you can ever like get into a late game state here where you're just having the Baron and the Dragon alive at the same time, you're really going to have to play around Baron vision control so they can't take it for the next couple minutes, so you can force that game state where you have both of them up. We'll see if they opt to do that. Currently, blue side, full vision control of the Baron pit. We'll watch Fell to see where he moves to place these wards. Has a couple in inventory right now.
Definitely going to want to try to push that vision line. They can't afford at this point to really give away a whole bunch of objectives to the side of and they can't afford to really give up anything else at this point to the side of INT. They got to just tighten up a bit more. The macro was great from the last game. And again, they did have like the champion compositions were a little bit different. They were able to work with things. I just want to see a little bit more AD start to come out from the Zeri, because I feel like a Runon's and Static is just not enough to help shred through.
Oh man, I didn't see the Runon second. That is tough. As we see Deity here locking down Empire for Hire, who is able to dash out with that Ahri ultimate. Gonna have the Lulu ultimate on him as well, as Fox pressuring the backline, getting a lot of damage down onto Sathos, as Deity just on the top of the screen, just obliterating Empire for Hire and Fox. Just taking so much damage. Golden Pharaoh trying to stand strong here in the front line. Sathos dead, so not really a lot of pressure onto him. Should be able to just tank this one out for the time being. Not really sure what they were fighting over there, but they decided to fight just in the middle of the map, and you know, sometimes that's just what you want to do.
Yep, and now they got to stay to try to clear these waves before they can let this turret go. Honestly, I want to see DA try to get this mid turret and open up the map for themselves a little bit more.
Yeah, I would really like to see them try to make a concerted effort to take this mid tower and to play some of these side lanes. They have the double teleport. with the Ahri Renekton, but I keep seeing this Renekton and Ahri both sitting in the mid lane and just the skirmishing, so I really want to see them branch out to some of these side lanes, punish the fact that Omega the Reaper has Ignite. He doesn't have teleport, so if you're playing these side lane plays, you can really find some advantages with the vision game and with the map play that we saw from them in game 1, so see if they make any of those adaptations, but Deity has just been such a threat in this game, and we talked about in the draft how the composition for the side of INT actually a little easier to play with the Nautilus, with the Zac combo, even the Talia, with how much crowd control they have, and the angles that DA have to find. And honestly, we've seen them find some angles, but these last couple fights have been so INT favored, it's felt like.
At this point, it's looking hard for the side of DA. They need to really find some kind of really good pick, either take out Deity or Jinx out of the fight and just be able to just, shred that, just work on their tanks and bruisers later.
Open Fox just actually going straight in onto the team, gets the knock up onto everybody. And Empire for Hire taking out Sathos, the Jinx falling, and Golden Pharaoh was on a flank the entire time. He comes in straight onto the backline, and he found Deity. That's a double kill for Empire for Hire, setting them on fire and trying to take the soul for his team here. Omega the Reaper gonna end up falling. A double kill for the Golden Pharaoh, who's trying to etch this game in gold for himself as InzertNameThere, having to insert his flash there and just pop his recall. That is soul, infernal soul, going over to Empire for Hire and squad off of a phenomenal engage from Fox's Wukong.
And that's going to be the Drake Soul going over to the side of DA. They managed to clutch themselves from a 4K gold deficit to now just sitting under 1.6K. But even with that 1.6K, they're looking for the Baron next, and I think they actually can do it right now.
Oh, they can absolutely do it, and that gold means nothing at this point with how strong that infernal buff is. That is giving them so much gold value passively.
The whole team coming up, though.
The whole team's coming in here, but crucially, Zac and Riven are so far away. Omega doesn't have teleport. InzertNameThere is going in. We see Fel get rooted. You have Sathos trying to pop it on him. He steps so far forward. He steps so far forward on Sathos. He did not play Sathos. He gets snapped right back in. That's a double kill for Console unnecessary. Empire for Hire trying to go back in. Deity puts so much damage down, though, onto the side of Demonic Ascension, and Omega the Reaper able to follow up so perfectly with this Riven getting charmed up here, and Golden Pharaoh and squad have to run away. They have this Infernal Soul, but they can't afford to give these later stage deaths over and give these objectives over to INT. That is the only way they come back in this game, is if you throw around a Baron like this. They have to reset. They have to get back on the map.
They were well, it looked like it worked out a little bit of what they were trying to do. They were just trying to bait them into a fight that was going to force them. And they were able to get a couple kills on the background there, which was absolutely insane. But now, because of that, this is just a free tower taken for the side of INT.
Yeah, and with those 5 grubs, they take those towers so fast, so every time a play like that happens for INT, they can punish. But Empire for Hire has that ultimate available. He just gets knocked back and forth over the workground from the Talia, and Mont Blanc was still here on the side. The
caught up,
land, though, onto Omega the Reaper, and Pharaoh right there to take him down, put him in the tomb, and Mont Blanc gonna be safe. Deity landing the knockback, popping that ultimate to try to create some kind of distance.
Big
but
charm
the charm
lands.
actually gonna land onto Mont Blanc, who will end up falling himself. InzertNameThere now here as well on the Nautilus, and now finally the reset will come in for this Ahri after Mont Blanc and Omega the Reaper thought they could tussle, and Console gonna be going to this Baron now with the rest of his team, taking this one down. And that will be 2/3 of the Exodia here in this game. Only Elder Dragon would complete their buff trifecta, but I'm not even sure they'll need it.
That's absolutely insane to just watch this game completely swing around. This is where the macro play is really coming in, and that was definitely a good call for that first Baron, because it led them into an avenue where now, yeah, they felt a false sense of security to do that turret, but then you force them into a fight in that top side after they take the turret, and now you secure the Baron for yourself. So it's absolutely crazy. And even then,
so they just mind controlled them to fight them after that. They're like, you will engage us here. It's just watching the chase is just so funny to see. It's just they're sprinting after them, and they just know they need to make a play for INT.
I just want to see DA play really smart here. Don't let yourself lose the Baron. Don't extend too far out aside from what you're able to see. And this game is looking like it's going to be able to go to their side. But again, they're still a little bit behind in gold. Only about 300 gold, but still a little bit behind either way.
Oh,
and I'm actually surprised to see Fox just going in by himself like
doing
this.
That all day. He's just causing so much disruption and actually getting the solo kill onto Deity pretty much. The buff from the Lulu was enough, but Jinx going to find the kill and get excited on the backline here. Renekton TPing in, but there's Baron buff minions. They can't defend this tower if they try to. They certainly will
Riven
fall.
gets the slow.
Yeah, she gets slowed, but not going to be any following through just yet. They're engaged pretty much down. No ultimate available in Empire for Hire.
With just one grub, they still shred this.
Yeah, they absolutely shred it with this Baron buff. And this late game Zeri here now, 6-2 on the scoreline with that Infernal Soul. Absolutely going to be crushing in this game. We questioned the build, but he's made it work. Just figured these team fights were going to take some AoE, and he's really, really made it work here. Looking good on this Zeri and good in this series, and it's honestly gold lead not really super important at this point with that Infernal Soul and how well they're able to play the map with this Baron buff, but it does mean that INT's champions are still going to be decently strong. I just don't see a world where they kill this Zeri.
And it's really funny that you said that, because you're like, oh, the gold lead doesn't really matter too much, and that's something that I wasn't even thinking about. The fact that it's like free is literal free stats that were just being given by these drakes that they were able to claim. So they are actually, if you look at the gold graph, at moments in when they were like maybe 1,000 to between 1,000 to 1,500 gold behind on the gold graph, yes they were. But by itemization, by objective wise, how like the game is going, like overall, they actually were even that entire time. And I was looking at it just strictly from the gold deficit wise. But now you look at it here, like they're up 1,000 gold, but really they're up like 2,500 because of the fact that they have these free stats from this Infernal Soul.
Oh, absolutely. And just echoing the sentiment of the first game as well, where we saw the early objectives go the way of Demonic Ascension and just see them demonically ascend into the game. And it's really just, it's good to see a team just know their win conditions like that. They play for these objectives. They play the scaling compositions. They know how their bread is buttered, and they're pushing here in this top lane. But looking for a desperate play here is INT. The ultimate going to go onto the Zeri, but there's absolutely nobody there to get onto the Zeri when that Nautilus ultimate lands. So it should just be free firing. Now the hook going to land onto the Ahri. Not quite good enough as Wukong's onto the backline here, causing so much disruption as Console able to just tear through with this Zeri, with this Infernal Soul. Deity's still fighting back. As
Fell though on some Mortal Kombat
the Charm
duty.
Gonna miss. Charm not gonna connect on the Mont Blanc or Deity, so gonna have to just walk it out here. But Pharaoh in the top side.
Pharaoh just able to take that for free. I think they can actually take this. Fox is not up for another 28 seconds. I think they could definitely. This is free for them. I mean, Talia's coming over the back, so they might be able to make something work. She does have ulti, so she can come over the wall. But if she tries to engage, I feel like
you can't really contest.
You gotta you gotta answer the Pharaoh. You gotta answer Renekton up in the top side, don't you?
Yeah, he's gonna take that anyway. Probably, honestly, I don't know that Talia could do much to answer him without that teleport. Just would have to recall and then walk in. But it maybe was enough to actually scare them off of taking the Elder Deity, threatening with the suggestion that maybe there was something that he could do. And now the reset comes through from DA, and it looks like maybe INT might look to start the Elder themselves, or just get vision at least.
You might have wanted to engage on them before they got the chance to reset. I honestly think it actually might have been worse to let them reset and then just sitting here waiting to do the Elder. You would have been better off at least stalling them until Jinx got there, then fighting them to get off and not allowing them to reset, because now they just have even more items and they're stronger.
Yeah, and they're just expecting Fox to go for these engages. Every time he W's forward there, they're just playing so defensively because he's just engaged like a madman this whole series. And we'll see if they go for the Elder Dragon 50-50 flip. That would be kind of insane, as the knockback going to land on Empire for Hire. Going to force that ultimate out there as well. So, crucial tool not available for Demonic Ascension in this fight. As Fox now, see if he ends up popping that R. It doesn't. Pops the clone as the frontline Lulu will walk forward, and the hook going to go wide. Not going to be punished
This is the most frontline Lulu I've ever seen in my life.
We see, yes, Zeri popping off so much damage now, just immediately being layered down onto the front line as Golden Pharaoh was able to get into the back line, but Jinx crucially not able to get excited. Charm going to go wide again, but 2 dead for the side of INT.
Jungler
Should
and
spell
top
Elder Dragon for the side of Demonic Ascension. the most demonic buff you can get on the map, gives you that
Are they afraid
execute,
of the
but they
Jinx?
are trying to contest. They should be a little scared of the Jinx. Sitting on 3 items with that RFC can get some auto attacks off here, and if he gets even 1 kill, can definitely clean up. But
They're definitely
honestly,
calling for that.
shouldn't be that worried about it. So we have 5 members here.
Now
and
they go in.
He's stolen! An
He
objective
actually
bounty
got
stolen
it!
by Deity!
And now she just has
He
a
takes
chase!
it, and Jinx can actually get the chase and the shutdown here. Deity going God mode and taking the bounty there. Oh, taking the Elder Dragon and giving his team the ability to have some shred of hope.
And
praying
the
to
smite
their
is
God,
still
praying to
up.
their deity in this mid lane on Talia, who has been their sole focus of power in these team fights. The reason that they are able to come back in this game playing so well on this champion and now able to go to the Baron with this Elder.
Yeah, this is where we start to see some of the things open up, and this is probably where we're gonna end up potentially getting the game 3 is right here.
They prayed to the gods, and Deity answered, giving them the Elder Dragon, securing a brief respite for his team in this game with those 2 buffs secured. Sadly, they're temporary. The Infernal buff is still very real for the side of Demonic Ascension, and they do have a scaling late game comp, but this Jinx is going to start coming online as well, as alongside the Zeri, and we talked about that ease of execution. If they could start layering this Talia, Nautilus, Zac combos with the Riven, that's also looked extremely good. If they start layering this stuff in these fights and can kill console, it becomes very hard for Demonic Ascension to play a lot of these team fights.
Yeah, but the problem is actually getting onto console in the first place, and console has been playing absolutely out of his mind on this Zeri. But I want to just definitely give a little bit more credit to this front-lining Lulu that that DA has, because for some reason the Lulu just absolutely no.
Oh, F.
Please just be a random freeze.
Stream is frozen on the stream as well.
All right, so maybe we just got to go back a little bit. Time controls. So this is right after the.
Yeah, absolutely nothing has happened. Okay, no, good. Okay, so we'll be good. We can just leave it. As we see.
So this is them going back to. Yep, we're gonna see the Baron take once again, guys. So the one feature that everyone's been begging for that we don't normally get is instant replays. Well, here you go. So we're just gonna see them, but this is what I was saying, where I want to see, like, yes, they got to come back, but it's going to be difficult because you said that they have the Infernal Drake soul still on them and everything like that. Don't forget also, like, the team fighting that we've been seeing from DA has just been honestly really, really good. The spacing between console keeping himself away from those hefty people that want to get onto him has been so crazy. The Lulu has been absolutely absurd with how well the shielding, healing, and uses of the ultimate have been, or even some of the clutch polymorphs that they've been able to get. I honestly, like, we're going to end up seeing the beginning of that fight that comes up in a few moments, but, like, I'm very excited to see that because it's insane, because this might actually be the fight that balloons one of the two teams to a victory and or loss.
Oh yeah, we will absolutely have to see. And, you know, we talked about the individual prowess on the side of INT in the last game where they got those lane leads and they had those team fight moments, especially the likes of Deity, able to even pop off this game with some heroics. Gonna be casting that ultimate again. Maybe a pause in the game at this point or something, because we gotta freeze again.
Unless, does the freeze occur because the game finished and so spectator data can't continue?
No, because the game is just a complete file when it finishes.
We have seen that bug before though as well.
Oh really?
Where the game, where the game is ended, and then it's like, okay, you can't watch this anymore because it's over.
That's the worst.
Holy
moly!
Issue game just finished according to Golden Pharaoh.
it's the worst timeline. Oh no!
This is literally the team fight. It has to be it right here.
I mean, yeah, they have the Elder Dragon. Who won?
Captain Flowers, we need your help.
Yeah, seriously. I'm assuming we won't be able to see the end. INT won game 2. Wow, must have won in this Elder fight.
Yep, so that is the spectator issue. So it looks like the game, because if you were, we're getting a game 3. but it looks like if you're reporting that the game just randomly finished, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it's still that particular bug definitely is still there. That sucks.
Yep, so we'll have to try to pick
Yeah,
up the
ripper
end
me out.
there on a rebroadcast. So captains is looking at whoever's the winner of this. Please make sure you get your files uploaded. But we'll go ahead and fix these team names. Let's hopefully we can get this game 3 without an issue. But
Yeah, we got the all game 1 at least. That was nice.
yeah, we at least got all game 1 in. And hey, we're getting game 3. Hopefully we can get a repeat of game 1 in terms of the client. I know it's hard to talk about without seeing the true ending, but do you guys want to talk about the improvements or the changes the team's made from game 1 to 2 and what you want to see them do in game 3?
I honestly, both teams just played to their strengths. It was a very interesting change up to see from the side of INT being able to, get Deity to change up on the champion that he was on, and then also just how much they tightened up their macro play. It was called out from the very beginning by you that they immediately made a difference in their macro from the beginning, and it showed here. But we did see that Demonic Ascension had some damn good fight in them, so they
Yeah.
can't count them out just yet.
But honestly, the one improvement that you really have to take note on for the side of INT was they made the improvement of having Deity actually just secure the Elder Dragon with basic abilities. So you really can't count that one out. Just massive improvement to just steal the Elder Dragon.
Yep, that's exactly what was needed. And oh man, I'm sorry, but that sucks to see. That's how you end up losing it all. And I know that's probably when things started to fall apart was like you saw that Elder Drake go down and it was like, okay, this is not looking good.
But what a
Yeah,
game
so
though.
clutch though. So hyped for Deity to take that in that moment and just make that heroic play to bring his team back in the game and have the damage to win the follow-up fight afterwards. And honestly, it looks like the faithful truly will be rewarded, praying to their deity in this one to get the game 3 here. All of my channel points gone. So, as a true patron of any faith, I will be broke in the chat.
What a series that we've had here today. Game 1, we got a quadra kill, a pentakill, from both of those coming from Fox. Game 2, Fox steals a dragon, Deity steals Elder Dragon. Like everything you'd want to see. What do we need? A Baron steal? Is that what the next thing we need to see this game?
We need
Yeah,
a
it has to
Baron
be a
still
Baron
next. Yep.
flip, 50-50. Even though your team's supposed to stop damaging it in that situation, but the AD carry is always still hitting the Baron.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, you're right.
It's 50-50 is always literally just a 50-50. It's so funny to see, but also very exciting.
I'm ready.
So we do have a switch up with DA going blue side this time, and
Ooh.
INT going red.
That's fine by me. I want to see them do some change ups here. 1-1 on bets. Let's go. Can't wait to see what happens. If DA wants to win, I think for their sake, they're just gonna have to just go as simple as the last comp like they did beforehand. Um and truthfully just bring them they just gotta bring that fire. That's it. They just gotta bring that fire.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the draft adaptations are. Looks like we're seeing the Ash and Singe band away by DA. and the Karma Rakan here in the draft screen. Swain as well, so change up on that. No change on that one, but a change for DA, banning that Talia away from Deity, and first picking that Viego that was left open now for the side of...
It's very interesting to see that they decided to go with with Viego once again, even though the Kindred was left up open. So I'm kind of surprised to see what's going on, like what they were thinking there. But INT this time decided to go with the Xin Zhao. I'm very curious to see how they feel about doing that against the Viego, who actually wants to be all up close and personal against Xin Zhao.
Oh, not at all, man. Xin Zhao beats the shit out of Viego in the early game. He is way stronger. It's gonna really like to see that Viego in the early game, but when you get towards that level 6, it gets scary.
All right, here we go. Then we're gonna have a match on our hands then.
Oh yeah, and the Nautilus picked up here for INT as well. Just such a good pairing with that Xin Zhao. If you can execute some of these roam timers and get that support roaming with that Xin Zhao, roaming to these lanes and trying to get some kills in the early game and actually snowball these leads. Crucially, INT, we've talked about them snowballing their leads and getting these laning leads and not quite converting them into objectives. We've complemented DA's objective game in both of these games so far. INT with some heroics last game, able to pull it off, but DA, honestly, with a comfortable position for most of that game. And the brand take it here. Love that.
I like that. I like Brand Caitlyn. If that's going to the bot lane, I really like that. That's going to be an interesting, more pressure poke type of combination that'll at least give the bot lane what they need to stay ahead. But INT being able this time to pick up the Annie for themselves.
Yeah, I don't know if that brand is going to go mid lane or bot lane. We'll have to see here. Brand support is pretty good. Still do top damage in the game from the support role and have 10 deaths. It's kind of insane. The Annie response I like for the mid lane here. Just some nice, easy, layered CC. You have the Nautilus, you have the Xin Zhao, you have the point and click stun from the Annie. I really want to see some early and mid game executions and roams here from INT. They have the tools to do it, as DA going to ban away that Jinx, and INT going to respond with the Aurelion Soul.
Alrighty, and then we see the Urgot banned from INT. They don't want to see Pharaoh up on that once again. The Jinx being banned, and it's going to be for DA. Their final ban, I believe, will probably be something towards the bot side. Actually, no, they decided to go towards the top side and ban out the Riven this time.
Yeah, I like that. Reapers look pretty good on that Riven when he's had it, so just take that comfort pick away from him. Force him on something else. And we'll see with INT if they opt to take their AD carry here. Leave that top lane counter pick for Reaper.
Honestly, I like that. All right, so we get the Lucian in the bot lane this time. So it's going to be a Nautilus Lucian. It looks like for the side of INT. I'm not sure how I really feel about that, especially like I said, if it's a Brand Caitlyn in that bot lane, that's going to be very interesting. Or maybe it's going to be Caitlyn Galio.
Yeah, it could be the Galio support or the Brand support. Honestly, both options could potentially be a Galio top lane as well, though less common. Probably going to be the Udyr there in the top lane, one of the strongest top laners right now in the meta, and a very beefy front line developing for Demonic Ascension with some strong damage dealing capabilities as well. So I really like the draft that they've crafted for themselves as we see INT looking to get that 5th pick counter for the top lane, but not really much that's super great into Udyr as far as counter picking. So love that blind from DA. See what they choose.
Yep, we should be seeing it here.
The Trundle.
Oh man,
this is gonna be the lock-in. So that's a melee slap battle if I've ever seen one.
This champion has been an absolute terror literally all season. It is, oh man, this is, we're gonna get another backdoor Trundle play, I swear.
It's a split push monster, but honestly, the laning phase probably a good amount towards Udyr with the shielding and sustain he has, but Trundle sustain pretty good as well, and was always good in these melee versus melee matchups. we'll have to see which one of these beasts in the top lane is stronger. But I am looking to see for INT's side their early game playing, because they have these capabilities on their champions. They have the crowd control available to them in the early parts of the game. That's so easy to layer. Demonic Ascension, a bit more of a scaling draft with the brand, with the Viego, even arguably with the Udyr, who does have a good laning phase early on, but gonna look to maybe just hard punish with this Caitlyn and get some early rotations off to get plates. See if they can manage to do that. But either way, definitely going to be an exciting game.
I think so too, honestly. And with both these teams, they're getting set up now. Both teams are currently getting set up now after the draft wall has been completed. But once again, just to give a quick call out, we do see Demonic Ascension is going with Viego, Brand, Caitlyn, Galio, Udyr. And for INT, they are going with Xin Zhao, Nautilus, Annie, Lucian, and Trundle. Cast is currently ready. So we're just waiting for players. Players now have just gotten right into the draft. So with that said, really quickly, we're gonna go ahead and just speak on the things that we've seen. I don't know how to feel about these two comps in between one another, because it's like DA is sticking to their guns and what they like and how they've been playing the game overall. But at the same time, it's like INT has to INT, like they're playing again what they've been doing. But I just don't know how much hard of a time they're gonna have like playing into this, because we do see some really strong picks on the side of INT and the Xin Zhao, the Nautilus, and the Trundle.
Yeah, just really easy layering here for the side of INT if they want to make these early and mid roam type plays happen. But really safe laning for the side of Demonic Ascension. Having that Caitlyn in the laning phase just is able to put so much pressure down onto the close range champions of Lucian and Nautilus, and having the brand as well to poke down, just going to be pretty hard unless all the hooks are just money for this Nautilus in the bot lane. Should be just getting pretty chunked by the Caitlyn brand combo. Gonna have to be relying on that Udyr up in the top side, getting some pressure put on him by the Trundle and Xin Zhao.
So that's a champion favorite for Golden Pharaoh. So I wouldn't be like I'm sure they have the confidence in him to play it up in that top side. What I'm more concerned about is like how are they going to be playing this top mid jungle matchup? And since we do see it's Galio mid, not Galio support, that bot lane is going to actually have a rough time, I feel, for the Lucian Nautilus against the Brain Caitlyn. That's just going to be constantly getting poked out. And not many people know this, but Console actually is a Caitlyn aficionado. He actually likes to play the Caitlyn a lot. So this is going to be something that is actually like, it's not like he's just piloting a random champion just to be safe. It's the fact that he's piloting the champion because he knows what he's doing. So this is going to be pretty interesting to watch these two teams. Bot lane, I'm expecting DA to have the win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the overall win goes to, for the top side, goes to the side of INT.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what we're expecting here from the draft, with this strong dueling melee champion on the Xin Zhao paired with a crowd control mage like the Annie. But, you know, like you mentioned with the Galio, Empire for hire here, Caitlyn and Brand can get the push pretty easily in the bot side. So if the Galio is able to just kind of wander towards the bottom side of the map at post level 6, going to be pretty easy to set up these dives onto the side of INT's bot lane with the Brand Caitlyn having that push. Maybe can stack a wave or two and get that shoved in and dive with the Galio. It's a really easy way to start getting this Viego some kills and some resets. I would love to see that come out from the side of Demonic Ascension, but for the side of INT, like you mentioned, that early game, we're going to be looking at the Xin Zhao, we're going to be looking at that Annie, we're going to be looking for this Nautilus roams, and roaming Nautilus means Lucian's by himself in the bot lane. If you're shoved under tower as Lucian against Caitlyn Brand, you're probably going to be half HP, and that's where I'm going to be looking for the Galio. So honestly, really excited to get into this one. These two teams have given us a show so far.
Honestly, if we're starting to develop some rivalries right now between the different like teams, and this is probably going to be I wouldn't be surprised if this is one that does start to rise from this particular matchup, just because of how the two matchups have been in general. Just how close they are, how both teams are playing macro-wise, they generally have matched each other. Objective-wise, they've generally matched each other. It hasn't really been anything that seems like these two teams can't continue to compete against one another overall. it would have actually been even crazier if these two teams were both going up against each other undefeated right now, because it would have been a real like nail biter of who's really going to take the top spot. And right now, INT wants to claim the crown of king, but Demonic Ascension is looking to raise from the depths of hell and say, "Hell no, you're coming down here with us." So this is a damn good match we're about to get.
Absolutely. I am absolutely stoked for this one. Really going to come down to, I think, who in the jungle is able to find the early impact here. Obviously, the advantage in the early game as far as champions is going to fall on the Jin Zhao over the Viego, but Fox on this Viego in that game 1, looking so decisive and so dominant and just so able to take over the game. And you have to think, with him getting this pick here again in the 3rd game, despite being against a pretty tough team as far as like crowd control portfolio, Viego not really a fan of having that amount of CC on the enemy team, but if he can get even 1 reset, we'll see him pop off like game 1.
I like to see what people think in the chat right now, because aside from where the predictions are going, it's right now about a 75-25 split between the two teams. I would like to maybe get a little typing up in there, see what you guys say. I see Kazuto said that he believes it's a bot gap. Which side has the better bot lane, do you think? Because I personally think it's the Caitlyn brand, but he maybe it's the other way around, and you got a reasoning why.
I mean, yeah, definitely the Caitlyn brand. Just they have a range advantage in both roles, early damage advantage as well. Going to be able to pretty much be poking out Lucian Nautilus from the jump, unless the Lucian Nautilus are able to play in the minion wave really well and land a lot of these early hooks, chunk out the Caitlyn brand before they're able to start getting poked down.
Ray out here apparently dropped 36K. All right then. I mean, the predictions are still up, so people, you could still predict. We still got some time. Maybe I don't think we're gonna have enough time before it's gonna end, and then we'll maybe get like some, 5v5 in the level 1 shenanigans. I mean, actually, Demonic Ascension potentially has a team that could actually go for some type of level 1 shenanigans.
Yeah, we'll see. Pin's going out here from the side
Oh, they're starting
of INT for an invade. They know they have the strong level 1 here. Deity has that stun charged up already. They already have the CC from the Nautilus passively, and depending on what ability he levels. So INT going to stack here. Probably going to get spotted out unless they take a creative path through the top side.
Okay, so they definitely want to start off very strong here.
They're just waiting. Wonder if they're going to actually end up walking through that tri-bush in the top side, or if they think that the enemy team's going to check into a Nautilus Annie.
I'm going to say it's going to be because it's a coin flip right now for them, because it's either only one person's up there or 5 people's up there. But then it's also a coin flip for Pharaoh, because it's either, oh wait, they're actually taking a different
they're going to walk in, and
of...
he's not going to throw the hook blind into the bush. He will just walk forward, so that will give Empire for Hire the ability to just walk out of this one. A lot of times in these kind of late invades with the Nautilus, you throw the hook into the bush blind. Usually catches the champion off guard more likely than walking forward, but will not find purchase with that, and going to have actually a pretty late walk here to the bot lane, and the ward going to be cleared by Fox onto his blue buff. Almost missed it there with that last auto attack, but will be some information about where he is starting, as both junglers opting to start on the blue buff.
I'm very interested to see this top lane matchup and how the junglers are gonna try to influence it, because I'm sorry, but Trundle can lose all he wants in that top side, and it's still gonna feel as if Trundle's gonna win. So this should be pretty interesting. But
yeah, he's slapping him down right now. The level 1 from Omega the Reaper, popping that ghost and getting the ghost popped in return by Pharaoh, really needs that level 2 on the Udyr to start making things happen here. As the bot lane poke gonna start landing, but not too much on either side, as the health bar on Pharaoh there is just so dangerously low. Still has that potion available. And it does have that level 2 now in the top side, getting that turtle stance. We'll have some shielding. As the hook gonna go wide, insert name here. Prolific with his hooks in this series. We'll see if he can find targets on any of those later in the laning phase, but How do you think this Jin Zhao is going to make these next few minutes happen? Do you think we're going to see the red side into a gank top lane, or do you think he's going to make his way mid lane?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna work through that same avenue of trying to get Pharaoh down, so he can't really do much. Udyr is a lot more. I feel like it's a lot more volatile in comparison to the other laners that Pharaoh has played this time around. So they can actually try to beat him down and see if they can get him to basically just feed.
They're
But
just
hold on.
slap fighting, but Reaper getting just gunned down by that cannon minion, by the way, doing so much damage to him and just fighting in such a massive wave there as the Trundle. Thankfully, with his passive, should be able to sustain up a good bit under this tower, but taking a lot of damage. And Xin Zhao now on the backside top lane. Golden Pharaoh going for the solo kill because he knows that he has no option to live here. Going to try to end up getting the solo bolo, but it's not going to be enough. First blood going to Mont Blanc, right place, right time, there in support of his top laner. Knew there was a chance Golden Pharaoh would get greedy, and he did. Ends up falling there for it. As Fox now in the bot lane, gonna be looking for maybe a dive, but opts to just go for the Scuttle Crab instead.
Yeah, that wasn't something fun that you wanted to see there. I mean, at least he did it for a reason. He knew that there was no guaranteed way of him dying. He had no flash, no way of getting out. So it was just better for him to just give up that death, if not to at least try to take something out. But the Trundle being able to get away that easily, at least nothing went towards the Trundle. There was no assist given to the Trundle or anything like that. It's all just strictly Xin Zhao. So there's no extra gold to be had here. So they should still be on pretty even footing.
Yeah, should still be feeling pretty good. Maybe a bit of an XP lead for the Trundle there with those mini waves able to pick up his minute higher. Actually getting the taunt on Mont Blanc out of the tower. It does not end up taking a tower shot there as Golden Pharaoh and Omega the Reaper just constantly fist fighting here at the top lane, and it feels like Golden Pharaoh starting to trade back a little bit better here with these health trades, but constantly just getting beat down here by Mega in the top lane as Fox now going into an insert name here, but has to flash away from that hook, trying to get the damage onto Sathos, who also has to flash in response and pop the heal to live through that ignite. As top lane now, kind of a turret dive angle from Omega the Reaper, maybe, but just trying to get some damage off and avoiding the tower shots as well. Just being such a nuisance to Golden Pharaoh and denying him some CS under this tower.
What's up with every Trundle I'm seeing just deciding that it's gonna just fight or beat someone up under the tower? Like, it's always just that every single time I've seen it so far. So I think I'm at the point now where I just have to accept the fact that like Trundle is just needing to also be picked or banned because this champion is just annoying. But
he's annoying, but he actually is just getting out traded right now by the Udyr, who should be popping his grasp stacks and just getting that healing, but not quite enough as the chomp comes through for the Trundle. Those low mana cost abilities in the early game for that Trundle, did stealing the AD from the Udyr. It was so close down to the wire there, but ends up taking that solo bolo, and now with 2 deaths on the Udyr, missed so much of his lane XP. Not a level down yet, but honestly probably not too far off in XP, but the pressure here and the damage from this Trundle is so real.
It's gonna prove to be an issue, and now Trundle will be able to get that solo kill. I mean, getting the Bramble was a very, very good first item adaptation from Pharaoh. That's actually something that is probably gonna actually help him out quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a massive buy, just being able to deny that healing, but kind of a desperate attempt here, knowing that he's stuck on the weak side, but still playing so aggro like this, pretty far up. Has to pop the ghost, does dodge onto the wind becomes lightning there, but there was a hook in the back end to follow up and doesn't dodge out onto that one. The ignite as well on him, but not going to be needed as Mont Blanc jumps right on his back and gets a second kill on this Xin Zhao. Just a terror in this early game, and kind of what we talked about in the draft. INT going to be looking to play around this top side with the Xin Zhao, going to be looking to take these grubs and have this Lucian here probably alone on the bot side. And sadly, Sathos hasn't really been punished too hard, still hasn't died, and Console hasn't been able to find too much with Fel on this brand. They haven't channeled really a lot of pressure here. Fox now getting the flash out from Deity, but probably not going to find a Sathos actually so low. If Console manages to get 6 here, Fox is charging, but he trying to charge him with the W, but doesn't even have the flash to get the distance down. He just gets stunned into the tower and taken out. An easy kill for Deity. Gonna be question mark pings in the chat for sure on that one, as Nautilus here engaging in on an Empire for hire. The knockup gonna go through, but back to the top lane. Directed camera decides that we need to see this noodle fight because nothing is really gonna happen in the mid lane as these top laners just brawling the whole game.
This is absolutely insane. Like they're just this time around. It seems that I don't know if if it was just like they needed to download. Like I play a lot of fighting games, and it's a term that they like to use where hold on, we're getting a little bit of a trade.
He's downloaded him in the top lane here. He has memorized the way that his auto attacks are now hitting. Oh, almost took the tower shot there.
That would have been an immediate engage from the Udyr.
Immediate.
But it's something that they like to use in the fighting community. It's like downloading your opponent, and I feel like that's what INT has been doing the last 2 games. Is okay, we saw that first game we lost due to like getting out macroed. So how do we tighten up and manage to get this time? The second time around, it was funny because like they were still, finding themselves getting caught out behind a lot. But that was because they had to learn and understand how their opponents play. Now it's like, okay, we understand how they play, so we're gonna be able to actually like play around everything that they're doing. And we're seeing like now, even like Deity on someone not as like mobile as like the Annie was able to get to the bot lane, able to help mitigate anything that could have been potentially Sathos' death. And they're still ahead. No deaths we're seeing for INT, and they're now still sitting just about 1,000 gold ahead, even though these turret plates are starting to get taken by this Udyr up in the top side.
Yeah, such a good TP from Deity, honestly, to get in there and prevent his team from being punished. Just sitting on 4-0 now for the side of INT, looking so strong in this game here in the early game, which a lot of the time we credited DA with their early games in some of these games. And
Flash
coming into the late
hook
game,
onto
but
console.
now Flash hook onto console, who will end up falling there. Calling coming through as well, and the Annie damage not going to be quite enough to take down Fell, but his lane partner will end up falling. Flash was still available, probably figured he was just going to be dead anyway, doesn't want to burn that, but 5-0 now for the side of INT.
That's absolutely crazy to see that there. I'm sure they weren't expecting DD to be back there once again, so that's probably why they gave that up, or like why they ended up having that happen. And then again, the flash ulti coming out from, or the flash hook coming out with the ult drop. There was no.
And now
way
look at these trades in the top lane, though. We talked about how much Trundle was winning these early, but Udyr really starting to scale these out. That Bramble Vest giving him so much power here, popping the Ghost because he knows that he is strong right now. Gonna force the Ghost out from Omega the Reaper as well. And this Udyr just looking like such a menace, sitting on 0-3, but still able to win out in these trades, just showing why this champion is so feared.
Completely agreed. It is absolutely insane. It's an insane thing to watch. Oh, hold on. I
he
didn't
just
realize
lands
that
the hook onto the tower, onto the wall in the bot lane to get enraged to just get the root down. Giving Sathos that kill as Wind Becomes Lightning going to come out from Blanc and force the flash out of console. Fox here in the bot lane now looking for the reset onto the Nautilus, but going in alone, and that's a second death on this Viego under the same tower. Dying, looking for an overextension here. Deity in the mid lane has that stun available, but Jin Zhao making his way up maybe, but maybe going to look to just take the dragon. As Deity actually just going to opt to pop his ultimate, get some pressure here in the mid lane, make sure his jungler and bot lane are able to take this dragon without Galio interference. I love that play from Deity just to really force out the Galio here.
I mean, it's also the ult is actually still a very short cooldown for them too, for Annie. So I'm sure she's not really too concerned about losing Tibbers, just to draw some pressure.
Oh, absolutely. And he used it just for that. Going to make his way back to the base now as a dragon for his team. But still one in the pocket of the side of Demonic Ascension. Keeping some early objectives in their pockets here. This game is Fox getting spotted out, getting hooked in, and chased down by 3 members. Wind Becomes Lightning not quite going to land there for the Jin Zhao. But they will make their way to these grubs.
This is what I've seen. Season 2, this is exactly how we ended up losing. Was Deity was our jungler, and what happened was consistently, no matter what, somehow, some way, the enemy team was always in his jungle. He couldn't be anywhere. And if this is what you're gonna constantly keep doing, especially with someone like, oh, hold on.
As we see the engage actually pop off here, Mont Blanc forced to get out pretty quick though, but the brand damage is just actually doing so much and just going to obliterate the Nautilus and going to get a follow-up stun as well with the additional crowd control coming in with the Galio layering so much down, and this Udyr just so tanky here, and the Galio ultimate going to channel as well and just give them even more tankiness. The side of Demonic Ascension have demonically ascended here into the part of the mid game, and they're picking up a few kills for themselves.
At this point, it's It's looking. Oh man, this is crazy to see it be this even right now. Insert name there. They'll able to get that kill real quick for themselves. It's oh man,
Is he
and
looking for another hook? Certainly he doesn't just connect all of these hooks here. We'll see if he can actually land
the
it.
other.
The pillar was there to basically guarantee it. Gonna get the root down as well. The shielding from Udyr pretty
Viego's
big
here
though.
too.
And Viego not here. If he gets this Nautilus reset, he can maybe pop off. Gets the ultimate down. See if he actually has enough damage. Gets rooted here, so not quite enough. And Nautilus hook not gonna get out, but does get the clone. Dies before he can even get the possession. But now the Trundle should be able to certainly run down, but with the help of Mont Blanc, able to take him down there, picking up that kill onto the Udyr himself.
So what I was trying to say earlier was one thing that's going to definitely be able to win the game for INT is going to be their ability to constantly not allow Fox to really do anything by being in his jungle, especially when you have, think about it, a Trundle, Nautilus, and a Xin Zhao walks into your jungle. What do you do? So it's just like, aside from trying to dodge skill shots, not trying to get caught up in any CC or anything, like you basically have to respect that you're literally having 3 people barrel at you at all times into your jungle. And so at this moment, INT is saying to Fox, you in your own jungle, you're not even safe there. And
Yeah,
it's
that's what you do in that situation is you say, sorry, I didn't realize that I was in your jungle. And you just turn around and leave because at this point, those 3 champions, they owe the jungle. Empire for Hire going in here on this Galio. Going to get the taunt off onto 3. We'll see if any follow-up comes through. The teleport was channeled by Golden Pharaoh. He is ghosting straight in. Deity just going to fall to the Caitlyn. He runs away from him because he saw that ultimate already going down. Mont Blanc going to end up falling here on the Xin Zhao. Demonic Ascension coming in here in the mid-game strong, but gonna go under the tower again here. The tower seeming to be their worst nemesis here. These tier 1s claiming the lives of Demonic Ascension members 3 times here, but really like the way they're fighting back.
Zathos secret quietly with the 3-0 here. In this Lucian already with the Kraken Slayer starting to look really good. I'm actually I'm surprised to see that the bot lane didn't go worse. It managed to actually stay equalized for a good amount, and now being ahead in kills, this Lucian is definitely feeling pretty good. So yeah, I mean, Demonic Ascension is still doing very well, still keeping themselves in this game, but INT is not out of it yet whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely not. The Lucian here is going to be spiking with this gold he's managed to acquire when he is able to complete this second item. And I really expect them to start playing around these dragons with this Lucian Annie Xin Zhao combo with the Nautilus. You know, you can have the Trundle match there in the top lane. Udyr is going to be a bit of a problem, but if you can start stacking these dragons, using Lucian's power window to get some of these objectives. But the scary thing for INT is looking at that brand on the side of Demonic Ascension as we see top lane.
I mean, actually, you know what? Never
Pharaoh
mind. Let me stop flaming Pharaoh for this. If you're constantly drawing up this much pressure towards your top side and you're actually able to stall it out like this,
he drew the pressure, but meanwhile on the minimap, Console having to burn his flash there to get out, and the teleport coming from Galio to the mid lane as well, as we see now Deity and friends move towards that Rift Herald, but the dragon's spawning, and I think INT are pretty happy to just take this dragon.
but
INT are happy to take this Herald and give this dragon. It's only second dragon for the side of Demonic Ascension, but maybe going to look to walk over. They are sprinting straight over there. How low is this dragon? You can see if the dragon's health bar is low enough or if they can actually contest it. No, should be able to be contested or taken by Viego rather. Does get rooted down, but the Galio ultimate gonna maybe dissuade. Does get into the middle of the entire team, but gets knocked back. Not able to get the taunt, but still able to get some crowd control. Insert name here gonna fall, and the Viego restarts are now coming through. The hook actually gonna land by Fox onto the back line. The shutdown going on to the Caitlyn, killing the Lucian, and now the Viego again popping off in these team fights, getting these resets exactly like we talked about, and he is again making it happen in these fights. His team right there to back him up, and Demonic Ascension back in the game.
This time though, the kills not just all being barreled onto the Viego being more of a supportive jungler this time around with supplementing the damage and stuff, but the damage really coming from the Caitlyn and the Brand especially, not even with Leandri's yet, was able to shred so many members of the fight with the big ultimate and the multiple 3 hits of his burn. So at this point right now, it's really looking good for the side of Demonic Ascension, especially since their team wants to be constantly in those team fight conditions, especially with the Brand. So as we see this fight up top side,
it's something we've seen all game with these top laners to slap it back and forth. But we see here the Trundle now with that ultimate ticking, actually just doing so much work to the Udyr. Now with the completed item over the Udyr, that kill gold starting to really matter. As you know, you look on the side of Udyr, has that frozen fist, but itemized a little more defensively. Trundle with the lifesteal and stealing those defensive stats away from the Udyr, gonna pretty much make Trundle win that 1v1 every time because he's stealing the offensive stats too. But I love that you mentioned the brand damage there because we touched on that just before then, and then he absolutely just goes in and pops off. But speaking of popping off, gonna end up getting popped off here, maybe actually lives and just throws his full combo back. Says that I am actually just gonna survive here and also almost kill you. He is walking back up, but we see InzertNameThere going in with a flash hook. The brand got greedy and stuck around, but the shutdown going to go to Nautilus. Honestly, you get Nautilus's flash for 600 gold. I'm going to say worth.
I'm very sad to see Brand end up dying there. I don't think it was necessary for
and we're actually still continuing to play. Jin Zhao going to pop that Crescent Guard. Console just going to walk inside of it, though, and get those auto attacks down onto him, doing so much damage on this Caitlyn, like you called out. But on the top side of the fight, the Galio just living for so long. But Trundle on the bottom side, crucially, actually taken down Console. Omega the Reaper getting so low here, but actually living with this Trundle. But Pharaoh as well. The Udyr should be able to... No, not quite enough. Not able to get onto Reaper there. And Deity just there to make sure that his teammate stays alive, even though the rest of them fell. This is a bloody game. Just like every game this series, this is a constant fist fight.
I'm actually really sad to see that everyone just completely stopped peeling for Caitlyn down there, and just instead of going towards their base, they decided to chase everyone down. Caitlyn, if they just peeled for her a little bit more, they probably could have been able to have the extra damage that they needed to win those fights and clean up those extra kills. And this is crazy because this gold lead is just constantly swinging back and forth. It's every time it gets just about 1,000 gold up, all of a sudden now we're seeing it swing right back to the other team. So this team, like both teams right now, really playing it extremely even.
Yeah, they're playing it pretty close, and even the objectives here, only 2 dragons for the side of Demonic Ascension, just 1 for the side of INT. And with the Baron coming onto the Rift here soon, you have to think that's going to be the focus for these teams, as Omega the Reaper taking the tower in the bot lane, Rift Herald being spawned as well behind him. His jungler's piloting this one to take it for a bit of a ride. We'll see if he tries to make it actually happen with the crowd control applied to Udyr to go for the fight. I love when you see the Herald used to apply CC, but speaking of applying CC, InzertNameThere here in the Nautilus, applying the CC onto Console, taking him out immediately, and the calling going to fly through on the back end, looking to take down Brand as well, who will just barely live, as Fox now thinking he can go in and get a reset, but it is not to happen, as actually it may have happened to that tower kill, but he was already dead by the time that happened, and the Brand dies as well, overstaying his welcome a bit, as now Galio has come to join the fray. Empire for hire, showing that he still has a few things to say about this game, but it's not quite loud enough as Mont Blanc and Deity take him down under his own tower and push that in. Should be taking this one out, and just a dominant showing here in this mid game from INT.
Yep, this is where the gold lead starts to balloon. This is where you start to see this is where you start being DA and going like, okay, hold on, we gotta reset real quick. We gotta rethink. We gotta regroup because this is not working. What is going on here? And it's just something now that they have to face, because this time they weren't on top of the macro play as they normally would be on. Like, you know, yeah, they have 2 Drakes, but this time they still lost all 6 Grubs again. They aren't really on top of the objectives as fast as they were in previous games. So it's showing right now that they're being a little bit more outclassed in this particular fashion.
Yeah, they got 2 of the dragons crucially, but there's still 1 dragon and soon to be a 2nd dragon here, unless Viego has something to say about it, which he does, taking that ocean dragon for his team, probably going to pay for it with his life, not able to get a reset, but does get his team that soul point, as the Galio actually going in and doing so much damage, taking down Sathos by himself, and killing Deity, just killing both of the carries as Console, just casually shredding the front line there, as Omega the Reaper and Golden Pharaoh back here to the pay-per-view fight in the top lane. This 1v1 in the octagon between these 2 guys has been constant, but it has been so Trundle favored, hasn't it, ever since that second level.
Oh, nice play,
but he
Pharaoh!
Doesn't realize that his ultimate just dealing ticks some damage to the Udyr and makes him take that tower aggro. The last second, Trundle just falling to that tower, just Honestly, well played by Pharaoh to not die, but also just Omega the Reaper, a bit of an int, if we gotta say.
He's got to live by his team's name, man, and that's what he had to do. So he decided to int it down just to give us the one real end of the game from INT.
You gotta represent.
He needs the namesake, man. Right now INT though, I want to say that this team, even with Demonic Ascension, both Demonic Ascension and INT, I feel like are right now trying to make cases for them becoming household names of Valhalla Esports. Both these teams are playing damn good games right now.
Oh,
And this
absolutely.
Baron,
And this is the 50-50 that we talked about. They're just going for the pure 50-50. We'll see. Oh, they actually turn off of it.
The Galio in the bottom there.
Galio just doing so much, but the Nautilus going back in, and the reset comes in for Viego. He has the clone now. Wind becomes lightning onto Sathos in the backline. Does get that kill as well. Looking for the second clone possession. He's crowd controlled. He can't get it. And he takes the kill onto the Viego, taking him down before he can get that reset. But Golden Pharaoh still able to chase down Omega's here, though, and he's full HP on this Trundle. Ghost popping, Deity right behind him to follow up with some crowd control if they're able to, but the trap going to stop them in their tracks, and actually not able to quite get on to the rest of the members here. We'll see if he can get the chomp down. He does actually, just has so much movement speed, able to take him down. Nothing can stop them from getting on top of him. Omega the Reaper on this Trundle looking so scary, and now Deity and Omega should be able to just take this tower. There's nothing that 10% health Pharaoh and Fel can do. Should be an inhibitor as well. And such a dominant performance from the top laner on the side of INT this game, just really making a statement. And you called it out in the draft how scary this Trundle looks, and he's showing us why.
This is I can't stand this champion anymore. Please pick or ban it. Like at this point, teams, you need to be getting rid of this champion. It whether it loses or wins, for some reason, it is just extremely difficult to deal with. And I don't know.
They're just turning right back around. They baited the start, but they went back for the turn. They're waiting in the bush. They didn't expect them to be there. It's a brand dead immediately. He didn't even have time to pop his ultimate. I don't think it was up anyway. And Empire for Hire
The biggest
has
team
to
factor.
sprint for his life. Mont Blanc going in and just forcing them completely out after that Fnatic death brush and chasing back in now onto Fox. Should be able to make it out with his blast gun, but we'll see how far he actually gets and how long they're willing to chase. Maybe could go for a recall or some kind of sneaky escape. Looks like he should be able to get out with that mist from the Viego.
I feel for Brand, he's not too mad about that death there because he's still pretty even in his KD, but at the same time too, it wasn't anybody. Oh no!
Ended up buffering that Nautilus ultimate with the Viego ultimate to not fall to that CC, but didn't even actually matter because Lucian able to pepper him with the calling on the back end and take that kill. Sole point for the side of Demonic Ascension, but their jungler falling and INT making their way towards the Baron. Should be a pretty free Baron for the side of INT, and with the way they've been playing this game, you'd think they would snowball this into the victory.
And I mean, the Baron at this point might as well be theirs. They don't think they really have the avenue.
Brand damage though is actually so real. Oh, but they kill him. It actually isn't enough. Galio and Udi are here in the middle of the fight. Console ready to deal damage. Actually, I think they can maybe have to back off now.
He still
Brand
gets deity from the burn, though.
He got deity from the burn and the Baron damage as well that was still applying. Ends up taking him down. So the sacrificial Brand play actually worth in the chat. Stops the Baron play. Gives them another couple minutes here. And crucially, that dragon is spawning in 40 seconds. That's the sole point option for the side of Demonic Ascension. They know that INT are very interested in preventing them from doing this. So what are they doing? They're starting the Baron. They have vision control there. They're already starting it. They have bot lane response. They have the mid lane pressure, but Brand's going to be able to respawn and cover that. And they're just going to sneak this Baron straight out from the noses of INT. And they might even be able to have time to get to the dragon and reset with these Baron recalls.
Yep, they definitely will. This is looking really good for Demonic Ascension right now in the sense of like.
Yes, Trundle and Lucian are going to melt that before they get there, though.
Yeah. Oh. Did it happen again? Don't tell me they end off of like a soul fight or something.
Rip.
Could you imagine
Riot
if
like
Yo, Riot hates us. Come on, bruh. All right, let's see if it freezes. If it does, we'll get somebody from DA or INT to confirm for us.
It is a freeze angle. 3, 2, 1, freeze. There it is.
Oh, come on.
Goddamn. Well, it was GG's tonight. I am going to go ahead and assume that Demonic Ascension, Miracle Workers, pulled it out. They're still in the game, he says, actually.
Oh. So the game is just, so it's just, they just decided that they're gonna, let me see something. All right, so we get one full game. We get one that the spectator bug ends because of the game ending. Are we gonna now? I'm not hoping. I'm really hoping that we could just jump right back into this. I'm opening up my league now just to see if I can get the spectator to come up and then stream it that way. Come on, league, stop being slow. Oh, I can't even hit spectate.
Damn. Small indie company, by the way.
No, like quite literally, small indie company. Yeah, you click on spectate and it just breaks.
Well, man, I'm going to head to bed, but it was good casting with you.
Good casting with you too, my man. So yeah, guys, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to continue anymore. I can't stand Riot at this point, man. This is crazy. Like we just want, like, our teams are sitting here working hard, trying to, they practice, they want these games streamed. This is actually a little banger of a series right now, and I can't even get into spectator. Like I can't even right click spectate. It's just broken. Um, GG no re. Come on, spectator. Come on, spectator. All right, yeah. I.
I mean,
Oh, why does?
I can't even get, skip waiting for stats.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not.
locking me in.
It doesn't even want you to try to even attempt to get back into the spectator. That's what it's doing. I love Riot so much, guys. I really hope you guys know I adore Riot Games with an absolute burning passion. Whether it's from how they handle toxicity in the community to let me stop before all of a sudden they're knocking down my door with a cease and desist like Nintendo ninjas. Um,
It's wild though. I mean, we want to play their product. We want to put it out there for people to see, promote their game, their platform, and they can't even spend the time to make sure it works so that can happen for them.
if anything, to the DA members and to the INT members for whatever ends up happening with those games, if you guys would please, if you wouldn't mind, we can definitely get those last couple minutes at least like summarized and or casted. So especially since that last fight, it was like only like the last like 3 minutes. And then this is probably the like maybe last like 10, 15 minutes of your game. That's probably gonna get missed. So if anything, my suggestion for us would be just submit those last couple minutes of as VODs if you guys can, and we can definitely get those casted. If not, like maybe put them as like a little intro segment before the next week's game, so then people can watch them before the games start. Maybe do something like that, get that figured out. We'll talk over here on production with that kind of stuff. But aside from that, it is currently sitting at a 1-1. We don't know who's going to win this game, but that was really a nail biter, and it seemed like both teams had the potential to do it. So don't be surprised if we do hear the Demonic Ascension win. Don't be surprised if we hear that INT won. Honestly, both these teams were playing a hell of a game, hell of a series, and I think from there, if there's nothing else said, I think we're gonna cut it there.
I'm gonna give it one more go since it's letting me back in.
Oh, let's
At
go.
least it let me hit spectate game and load this time. We'll see if it's a false load.
Yep, I'm getting. Let me see. It was one of those right click, false load, black screens. Wait until it stops. All right, let me stream this to you real quick. I think I got something going on here.
It put me back in the stream at 28 minutes, and there's currently a
Yeah, I'm at 28:01.
pause in the actual game. It looks like.
Insert ended up lagging, resetting PC real quick. Oh, so it looks like Insert actually ended up having a lagging issue at some point.
Hello.
Maelstrom. Welcome, welcome.
In case it does work, I'll jump in and I can co-cast with you.
Well, I actually have it up and running right now with I'll just go live here. I do have it up and running on my particular screen at the moment. It's currently on pause, 29.5 minutes, due to lag that was being had by one of the players in game. Hopefully, they will be able to figure that out very soon, and then we'll get right back into it. We're currently waiting on Blitz to be able to get back into the spectator, but I was able to do so, and I think he was as well. So yes, we are currently seeing the pause at the. Actually, he's a little bit ahead of me for the pause. So yeah, I will go ahead and actually I'm gonna just leave this screen open. You never know. It might be different between person to person for some reason. So I'm gonna just leave the spectator. I'm gonna leave the spectate open on my screen over here, just to
Yep.
just to make my life a little bit easier.
Definitely can't trust it either way.
Nope. I mean, at the very okay. So they end up. So it looks like they were able to secure the Drake for the side of INT. Wait, Baron was taken? That's right, they did take the Baron. I forgot Demonic Ascension ended up taking the Baron beforehand. And so yeah, okay, so they traded Drake for Baron. All right, that's what ended up happening. So I think that's what we ended up missing. I don't see any changes in the kill score from beforehand. I see that the Kranich Rukrin has been picked up by the Udyr, while the Trundle is 9 tune and 7 with a Trinity Force, a Hullbreaker, and a Titanic Hydra. So this is must be a lot of fun for Pharaoh. Even though he's building primarily just tanky, so like very like tanky, so he's matching the items, but it's just right now that Trundle is an absolute freaking monster. Alrighty, so we just gotta wait for the hopefully they that lag issue stops very soon. I'm sure that hopefully that doesn't end up being something that is gonna affect the game overall, but
Yeah, as long as we can get back reconnected and get a good conclusion to this one, we'll be all happy.
That's what he gets for playing halfway around the world.
True. Yeah, kind of a wild game. I'm kind of surprised to see that Trundle had so many kills when it was into an Udyr, and that matchup is generally pretty unplayable until you have like 2 or 3 items.
Yeah, I remember you saying that from I think last week's cast, or at least one of the VOD reviews. But yeah, Reaper just trying to fight him, bully him early. I think getting
Yeah.
that first like level 1 fight and be able to push him off a little bit, give him some breathing room to try to stay ahead, and then definitely got the gank love early from.
Oh yeah, if you get ganks, it can help turn it.
Montblanc.
It's one where if it's 1v1, you just kind of have to farm it up and wait till you have items.
They just kind of stood in lane and just whacked at each other a bunch, and then whoever got help at the time was generally able to provide the pressure and get the kill.
Makes sense.
at this point, I think it's gonna just come down to it's a like, I'm sorry, but it's a 1,500 gold deficit. There's literally like it's so hard to really say like, okay, what do these two teams need to do to really like beat the other one out? I mean, yeah, they got it. Right now I'm getting PTSD flashbacks to Hellstrom's freaking bot lane Trundle as I see Trundle in the bot lane right now.
Well,
So-
Pharaoh's doing a good job matching the split. They want to avoid that situation where the Trundle just ends the game, but it's definitely a big threat for Demonic Ascension to have to deal with. And then they already have one inhib open for INT, so they're looking for just one big team fight and then push it down. But if there's one or two that go heavily the way of Demonic Ascension, can easily close it out as well.
And just really quick, I don't know if someone wants to explain this, but we're gonna be. I think it's a 4-minute warning coming up soon for the pause because it's 10-minute pauses, or What's the
Per the
rules
rules,
again?
both teams get 10 minutes.
Okay. I just want to make
Looks
sure.
like a screenshot got posted, so I don't think that will become an issue.
All right, perfect.
Hopefully means we'll get some action here soon.
That's what I figured. I know they're gonna try to get that taken care of as soon as possible. I was just like, okay, I don't want that to be like, I don't want it to be like, oh, we hit 20 minutes and it's like, well, due to rules, like, no, we should get this game going.
So generally our rules are the 10-minute pause, and then you will resume play. Whatever the issue was, unfortunately, you'll be handicapped or whatever, but you just resume the play. So
Oh, okay,
it's
perfect.
not
So,
a FF or anything at that point, unless the team chooses to do so. Which then we go, no, give us blood, give us carnage.
We want the blood.
we've seen 4v5s happen before.
Yeah, just for like looking at the state of the map here, the gold's so close, you're basically even. Got strong carries on both sides, but just the tower situation's a lot worse for Demonic Ascension. So they're definitely a little bit on the back foot as far as map positioning, but still can definitely go either way once we get back into this.
Yeah, they were able, like in with the Baron, they're gonna at least have a slightly easier time to be able to push things out. I'm very concerned at the fact that they do have a ward directly inside of the base for Demonic Ascension. So if anything, Trundle has the ability to also be like, oh, I'm just gonna casually, and once he casually decides to TP in and just wants to just take a turret, he can. It's kind of crazy to sit there and just be like, every single moment now when your base is open, you have to be wondering where's the Trundle.
Yeah, for sure. If ever you're winning a fight and there's not a Trundle around, you gotta be ready to get back to base pretty quick.
You gotta start asking the questions. Where's Trundle? And then you find out that he's beating down 2 Nexus turrets, and you're still waiting for him to, he's currently beating down your Nexus, but your team can't get back to him. Why? Because the rest of your team is stopping him. Oh snap! I just realized now that All right, so I gotta get back into my actual casting voice now.
Uh,
I just had to think about that for a second. I was like, oh, wait a second. I actually have to do a real casting voice today.
oh,
Let's go.
apparently the pause ended at 27 minutes. One thing we could do, since they're out of game now, they could just post that VOD real quick, and then we could just jump to that time.
Wait, the game already ended?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see if it's posted. It's a Google Drive.
Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so we're not gonna submit points just yet. We're gonna go ahead and first see if we can get that VOD posted up.
Week 4. Let's see it. Around. Sent a message to Deity asking for it.
It does look like the rest of our captains will be able to get theirs uploaded, so good job on that, everyone.
Well done. Well
We
done.
love to see that, so we can give people more of what they want to see. And again, sorry right now for technical difficulties. Doing what we can, but this week was a little bit better than the last couple, and we have to go continue to pester Riot and follow up with Captain Flowers to try to get this.
I mean,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This has been broken this long. It makes no sense.
they're impeding on his livelihood too. He does he does his own side casting and stuff like that. So it's just like you're affecting something that he does on the side. So at that point, like you're affecting your content creators at the same time too. So it sucks because Riot doesn't realize like how much that can actually end up ultimately affecting the community in general towards their game. So when you start to alienate a whole community of people, it kind of starts to It's like, okay, everything else in our game works. Let's just go ahead and not care about this one thing, and that's kind of what it feels like at times.
Be right back.
Admin got admin. But
Admin's got an admin.
yeah, what a great series, just brutalized.
Absolutely eviscerated, and
I think it'd be an interesting scene next week, though, the seer for this upcoming week. How many votes both these teams get? Because I think we saw how lopsided it was in the seer this week, but I think they both have really shown that they can win. They can put together a good team, good draft. They can adapt. Um, so just watching both these teams going forward is going to be very interesting.
both teams are in. It's like that's the thing too, because even Demonic Ascension had to considerably, for the most part, at least for games 2 and 3, it seemed like they were playing a lot from behind, and they were still coming up with some. They were able to eke a lot of wins out even from behind. So this is going to be a team to actually watch out for.
And I believe Data just sent it to me. I'll send it to you, Blitz.
Oh, good. Let's see if I can remember how to do this.
Worst case, I can always pull it up.
Close.
Remember.
Derig.
You must remember.
File's too powerful. Alright, I'll put it in the Google Drive then.
Return the slab.
Sorry, please continue to bear with us. We are working to bring you the action. Try to prevent.
Uploading to Google Drive right now. But you should just have to drag it onto the League application. You'll be all good. Alright, it's up now. If you can see it.
Yeah. Let's see, did that do it? No. Maybe. It's thinking.
Baby, it's thinking.
Ooh, baby, a triple.
Loading wheel. Nope, that just opened my client. Let's close that.
I have this one up. If she can't get it.
Alrighty, and then 28 minutes is where
4 more seconds.
I think it was like 26-10 when it broke, right?
it was like 20. Yeah, it was just after they took Baron.
Let me look.
So it's
Just
like
after
20.
Baron?
Yeah, it was just after the Baron. So it's like 27.
I could just watch the Baron fight again.
Alrighty. Hope I see a transition.
Alright, Hailstorm, I think I have it up for the good people.
Turn off the scene that shows the client. There you go. Alright, cool.
Cool.
And then fit the screen, that one.
I already did.
There you go.
It's because it's already in Discord.
Oh, okay, I got you. Well, alright, we can go from here. Look, we can finish out the game. Look at us.
We figured it out, everybody. You guys still get to see the end of this banger of a series. So let's go ahead and see it from here. Pharaoh ends up going ahead down to the bot side to try and match with this Trundle. Go ahead and stop them from being able to get anything else here. We do know that a little bit something was done later on, as the Baron is currently being taken by the side of Demonic Ascension, wanting to make sure that they can do this. Wait, what?
I don't think it's playing in the stream right now.
No, it's not playing on.
Oh, now it's playing. Oh, is there a delay on?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not.
I
There's
didn't
like
know
a
there
3
was
or
a
4
delay.
there's like a 3 to 5 second delay between everything you see and everything that comes across the stream.
Yeah.
My stream might just be really far behind then.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
my bad.
Yeah, I think so, because it's still frozen. Yep, it just unfroze. So we're good to go. We get to continue from where we left off, as we see the Baron now being taken by the side of Demonic Ascension, able to bring that gold lead to them a little bit closer. But we're gonna see that in trade for that Baron, that they had to give up the Ocean Drake to the side of INT. INT then right now looking like they're gonna try to use utilize this to try to get a little bit more gold in their pockets, to try to get a little bit more of a lead. I honestly am very surprised to see that INT was able to do so well, especially against like the bot lane and such, to early start this game. But Demonic Ascension is definitely not out. They've shown earlier before that they're able to play from behind and that they can make something definitely happen, whether they're 2,000 to 3,000 gold back from the enemy team. And at this point, what I really want to just see is I don't even know. I just want to see something crazy happen. Like, what are they gonna do with this Baron? I see a lot of jungle camps being taken. Okay, good. Going towards this top side to get something, like to get that top tower, start opening up the map more for themselves, start allowing themselves to gain more pressure that they need to be able to stop this Trundle from constantly being able to split push.
They're doing a good job with the 4-man squad, pushing that top. Got a tower, and then Pharaoh just pushing it out. Being smart, playing it safe, knows the Trundle's most likely in lane with him, so doesn't want to walk up and get jumped on him.
Yep. I like that. It's don't be surprised. Trundle's probably gonna. Oh, he didn't stop the back. Oh,
That was the DC, but
that was the DC right
luckily
there.
we
Yeah.
don't have to watch it.
Yeah. Oh man, thank God. So it looks like we're gonna end up seeing Insert go back to the base after the DC. Actually, nope. He looks like he's hanging in. Yep, it continued straight from there. So it looks like he didn't just permanently DC for a bit. Just like they had to just reset, and now we're seeing them. We're seeing them continue from that point on. I'm. What are they gonna do? It has to be one of two things is gonna happen. Either the two top laners were never able to fight with the team, and then somehow DA wins a big fight right here that allows them to just go straight into their base and win off a Baron push, or somehow, some way, oh yep, here comes a double TP coming in now as, oh wait, no, Trundle decided to TP to the top lane instead, and now we see immediately Sathos being able to kill out Fox right there as Empire for Hire is now chasing down the deity, but he's now caught between 3 different members. Lucian trying to get a little bit more damage, having a flash away over to the side. Now that's going to be a double kill for the Lucian as he takes out Empire for Hire. Unofficial double kill. Going to also then be another kill going right over to the Annie, as we do see, though, Brand able to take out the enemy jungler, but it's not going to be enough. Golden Pharaoh now trying to fight off this Trundle, but actually doing a pretty good job. The Bramble Vest definitely helping with those Grievous Wounds. Now he's going to just chase him down. Stun, shred, shred, shred. You hear the chainsaws going, but no! Instead, it's the rest of the team going to be here to be able to save their top laner. Omega the Reaper going to be able to keep his life and continue the beatdown of the enemy base for DA as they continue on more to push forward here. And I think they want to try to take this game, but that's at the very least, going to be another inhib.
Yeah, definitely looking for the push. Fox has just spawned. The rest of the team coming up shortly, so won't be the end quite yet. Pharaoh doing his job, keeping the split push under control, but INT won the 4v4 fight.
Right now, it's just... Yep, I see the calls for the Ocean Drake spawning. They don't want to allow that to go over to the side of DA. The last thing they need is more sustain on members that shouldn't be able to sustain through them, regen, all that good stuff. So right now, I know Fox is probably trying to prioritize this Ocean Drake because they definitely need it. So the next 90 seconds, or next actually 60 seconds now, is going to be extremely important.
Yeah, for sure. Also now with the 2 inhibs down, applies even more pressure as we're trying to trim those waves as the Udyr gives Trundle extra help in that split game.
Honestly, it's crazy to sit here and watch this, but like, if someone can just jump onto the Lucian, well, actually, they don't even need someone to jump onto Lucian. The funny thing is that Brand actually does a pretty decent job of just separating the enemy team alone, and as is, like, if he can cause members to separate entirely, then they can just pick off members one by one. So right now, this Brand is actually looking like the biggest team fight factor for the side of DA.
Yeah, and they're trying to utilize that Galio long range ultimate to stop the split, but see now Trundle top wave got stopped, but he's just run down the mid lane.
Yep, and now it's a 4v4 on this, but they do have the... Oh man, didn't even get the ulti off. This could actually be it. It's gonna be very hard for Trundle to, or for Galio to fight off Trundle. They can stop this Ocean Drake, but it's trying to. I think at this point I mean, if Galio can stop it, then that's fine. Fox is in there. He manages to get it. The blue team managed to steal the Ocean Drake, and it's going to end up being the soul for them. Fox had to give up his life, but that ends up being the Drake. But how much more is going to be given up as Golden Pharaoh has to now run away from the enemy team? Ocean Drake is now on Demonic Ascension's side, but now it is now the Trundle just going ahead and completely ignoring the Galio. Wanting to just get these turrets, just wanted to start slamming down these turrets as they're just trying to stall. Omega the Reaper trying to do the Hailstrom play, but not going to be enough. This time the members of the team are actually able to catch up to him, and Galio going to be able to secure that shutdown for himself. Empire for Hire able to kill that Trundle there, and now he's here to try to save his Udyr, but not going to be enough to save the Udyr. Mont Blanc engaging under the tower, able to get a stun off, but Empire for Hire still, even with the AP built, pretty damn tanky on this Galio, and is able to live it out. This is the unfortunate part of the fight. Nice hook, Deity able to secure that. The Crick Bloom able to send out that healing so then no one else ends up dying potentially under that tower. But we do see Zinzao unfortunately lose his life. And with Zinzao losing his life, that's not going to be enough. So everybody else backs off.
Yeah, it's kind of slowly but surely plugging away. But that nice steal in there from Fox to get the soul. If they can hold off until all their inhibs are back up, might be able to push DA over the edge to win a team fight and take this game out from under INT.
We're at the 33-minute mark, going on 34. Honestly, it's gonna just take one really big team fight to actually win this for either team. Whether it's somehow Brand manages to get a really big ulti that allows Viego to just tack onto somebody and take them off and get the massive resets. Because I honestly think that's really what the main factor is going to be here is Caitlyn being allowed to free fire in the background while really Viego and Brand are able to dish out the big damages that are needed. And even with just Trinity, Kraken, and Sterix, we still see Viego still showing some use. So it's still a very up there game for both teams.
Oh, yeah,
now at this
sure.
point, it's just a matter who's going to throw first.
Who will make the big play first?
Well, right now it's looking like INT is setting up for the Baron, so they look like they want to make the big play first. And instead, they have Console and Brand, both, or Felt and Console, both here against the Trundle. They have 3 members going in on the Trundle while the Baron is just being taken up in that top side. Okay,
Yeah,
so they're just giving this up for free.
They're ideally getting this pick, but yeah, free Baron.
Okay, so they at least he didn't
Did
he ult.
kill.
He didn't need the ult, but they end up getting the Baron for it though. So that's just gonna end up accelerating them even more.
Yeah, it's an alright trade. You also get your inhibs back up, and now you could try to win a quick 5v4 if they stay pushing on the map.
That's true.
But yeah, it's still just a rough spot. Tired of the free split, so they get the kill, but lose a big objective.
I think we're at the point now with where DA just needs to hope that they can either catch a slip up or catch someone just out and about from the side of INT, and hopefully it leads to the big fight, or it's a damage dealer like Deity or Lucian. It is, or like Mont Blanc decides to just go in on somebody, and so he gets caught and he dies. They just need to hope for somebody to just get too antsy and make a big mistake.
Yeah, for sure. And if this gets waited out, they now have the 4 Baron buffs, and they could just look to do a 5-man. They've got good setup for the team fight, but we'll see how they want to play it for INT. Keeping Trundle on side lane's also still fine, but just not quite as powerful since you lost that Baron buff.
Yeah, but he still has a lot of pushing power. Still a lot. He's still a threat in general.
Yeah,
he's still a
for
threat.
sure,
So
sure.
it's going to be very difficult for them with the Q. He also has the QSS. But big fight here from the side as Deity goes on a rampage. Fox being taken out. This is the fight that they needed to do. Deity looking for that pentakill once again from last week, but not going to be able to get it. Only gets 2 members from the side of DA, but it's not going to be enough for them to be able to push right into the base. Instead, they have to go ahead and get these waves. So good job from the side of DA to keep the waves in a weird spot so they couldn't just push immediately into your base after that fight, but it's still looking pretty bleak.
Yeah, it was a good catch there by Nautilus. Just got the hook, got the ult.
Oh, Nautilus getting another hook there. Please launch your ult off. No, he didn't have it, unfortunately, for that fight. And I think that's where it's going to be the end for DA. It's very difficult. You're staring down the barrel of a really highly loaded shotgun, and all it is a Caitlyn and a Udyr. And that's not going to be enough. And instead of padding the KDA, they decide to pad the win count as INT stay undefeated as the only team in Valhalla Esports with that title. Congratulations to INT taking Game 3.
Big hooks.
Trundle right click for win. Yeah, basically. But yeah, that's whoever voted for them, that's a big payout towards you first and foremost. So we unfortunately
I think I was 3 for 3 in my predictions. I was able to see each one, even though I was in my own games.
Well, either way, both teams played their absolute hearts out. I don't think anybody feels that either team performed terribly or that either team was Like, truthfully, that was actually that was more even than last week's main casted games. And like now we're really starting to see where these teams start to stand. And the fact that DA was able to stand up to a team like INT so well and make them have to constantly change, make them give them respect bans, all this kind of stuff. I think now that they've seen what DA can do and without their main jungler as well,
Right.
you gotta have to be afraid of this team just at least a little bit, at least give a little bit more respect to them.
The MVP poll has been posted. Send your love to who you think the MVP for INT was. I didn't get to watch all the games, so what are your opinions, Malco?
It's right now between Omega the Reaper and Deity for the most part. Both those teammates were the ones that were kind of like, if we were highlighting really anybody during those games, it was primarily those two when it came down to like what was going on the map. So I would honestly say it would have to be between Omega and Deity. And I think right now the chat seems to agree as we see the current votes going up. Oh no, insert actually gets a vote as well on the support role. Yeah, actually I should have to give some credit to insert, especially in that game too with the constant roaming that they were doing. That's actually really big too. Managed to
Right.
help with that in that fact. It's probably gonna end up going to Deity. Oh wow, we got another vote towards insert here.
Not over yet. It's 1 Omega, 2 Deity, 2 Insert.
So
But yeah,
come on, people, we get some of those votes in.
from the
We
little
need.
bit I
Oh, yep.
got to see, Insert landed a couple good hooks, so
So
that's all I have to go off of.
you know what your vote is. We unfortunately you missed a pentakill. Fox
I
did end
missed
up
the
getting
Penta?
you missed the penta. Fox ended up getting a
Shit.
quadra and a penta in the same game.
Damn.
Which was pretty hype. Game one honestly set the tone for the rest of the games, and neither one of these teams disappointed whatsoever. Both teams played to their absolute best, and it's very clear that they were not toying around.
Nice. And Deity gets the third vote, pushes them over the edge for the MVP for the series. Yeah, definitely sounds like Fox was putting in work. I know Demonic Ascension would have liked to have their full lineup, but I thought I could steal there at the end. Sounds like you did well in game 2. If you got a Penta as well, just putting the team on your back every once in a while.
This should be a good sign for Demonic Ascension, a good learning experience for them that they were able to go up against the number one team, the only undefeated team, and still give that team a run for their money in all three games. Obviously, game 3 was a little bit more of a far away game comparatively, but it was still one of those where it's like, if there was one slip up from the side of INT, DA was taking the game, and I think for that, they definitely deserve a round of applause for that much. But INT, you guys, you definitely played it smart. And again, to come back from that game 1, because it was looking a little shaky at first, but once you guys kind of tightened up, everything converted over, and you were able to make that win happen for the last 2 games. So I want to say thank you guys for giving us 3 games. Deity, congratulations for being the MVP of this
And
particular series.
we do still have Deity around, so we can have him jump in real quick to do the MVP interview. Hello, Deity. Congrats on the victories.
Thank you.
I only got to catch the very end of it, but how were the games?
They were challenging, for sure.
Definitely looked very back and forth.
Yeah, I think we weren't just. I think in game 1 we just we weren't ready to just literally fight like at every waking moment. But I
gotta
think
be ready to fight.
I think. Well, I mean, yeah, we were just we were playing like our normal. We play for small leads, but enemy team wanted to fight a lot, so we adapted in game 2 and 3 to fight a lot.
Nice. You got to see the whole series. You have any questions from what happened, Malco?
I was actually gonna primarily ask mostly about that game 1, because I know for you, Deity, it must have been a little bit of a weird swing because you started off as 3-0 and then things just kind of like fell. But you explained it was like constant fighting coming out of Demonic Ascension, and then the transition from just being like, okay, small leads to fighting a lot. Did that really like affect you particularly mentally, physically, like, or like playing wise? Like to you, it's like, okay, like I gotta just fight a lot more. Does that like really change up how you play entirely, or like even in general your team?
I mean, yeah, it's just I figured that like Hui as a champion is a champion that is good at poking and good at doing chip damage, like slowly. Like he's good at slow fights. He's not good at fast fights, and all those fights were really fast. So even though I was like ahead, there wasn't too much I could do because I can't like burst. I can't really burst their champions. So it was just like by the time I could get my first rotation of spells out, my team was dead. So it was just like, okay, I need to play a champion that I need to play champions that have a little bit more like quicker spell rotations, I guess.
For sure, for sure. Well, good job on the adaptation. And since we had to fiddle around a little bit, we'll end it there for the interview. But thank you for jumping in real quick, and
Yeah,
we'll
no
let you
worries.
get back to the team since you guys maintain that 4-0 record now.
Yeah, feels good. I will be on vacation, so I hope my team can hold down the fort for me while I'm gone. But yeah, thanks for streaming, guys. Good job.
For sure.
Thank you.
Enjoy the vacation.
Will do. Bye bye.
And with that said, guys, Zabel, I just want to give a quick shout out. Thank you for being able to be there for those first two games and a majority of game 3. And then Hailstrom, thank you for jumping in with us right after your games. I'm sure that we'll be in the cast your games later on this week, and that'll be a fun time. Blitz, thank you as always for being able to be on the production, for setting up the stream, making sure that we have that going out to the gracious people out in our audience. And remember, guys, if you are new here, whether you're new, old veteran type of deal, whatever, don't forget that you can always use your Prime subs here with us at Valhalla Esports. Guarantee yourself 30 days of love with Valhalla, as well as support our league and be able to bring more members to us here. If you are somebody who's currently on the sub list, or you're like Fox who showed that they deserve to be on a team but it's currently not, by all means make sure that you have signed up for that listing and get ready to either start playing in the in-houses or get ready for the next season. With that much said, guys, if you guys don't have anything else, I think we can bid everybody adieu and say peace out.
I'm all good. Peace out, everybody. My games were fun and bloody, so we'll see if we see them or not.
All right, well, let's try to get them casted this week. If that's the case, we love some fun, bloody games. But all right, guys. With that said, everybody, from me and Valhalla to you guys, have a good night.
Good night.
Sailing across the mighty rivers, going to row to the beat of drums, heading amongst the raiding seas. On time we approach the gates of O's, ready and gather all our strength. The night has come of soaring rain. For the honor have no fear. We shall ascend this night of war. Ready and gather all our strength. The night has come of soaring rain. For the honor have no fear. We shall ascend this night of war. And the whispers of our feet, and our honor be foretold. Warriors of the northern lair, all blood is forged into our heart. Shields be shattered, arms of steel, bloody axes fly with fury. Raging thunder shake the sky. Wrath of battle stains our mind. Rage of vengeful kings of war. Feel his sons and daughters fall. of war in the whispers of our fate, and our honor be foretold.